Immortal family of the Clear River. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 176 To Live or to Die. Song Qingming, who was trapped in the fire cloud, soon felt that his mana was almost exhausted. After taking several pills to restore his mana, the Zhuangguan armor on his body was slowly squeezed into a thin layer of paper by the fire cloud outside. Seeing that he was about to collapse, Song Qingming gritted his teeth and placed one of his hands on the fragmentary map on his chest, wanting to use the power of the fragmentary map to speed up his absorption of external spiritual energy. After the fragmentary map on his chest was driven by the mana in his body, it instantly emitted a ray of light. Song Qingming instantly felt that the speed of his mana recovery was accelerated several times. The Zhuangguan armor, which was about to disappear, slowly stabilized again. However, the fragmentary map could only temporarily keep the last layer of Zhuangguan armor from disappearing, and it still couldn't help him get out of his current predicament. Hey! This little guy is really interesting. After a moment, a curious voice suddenly came from above the fire cloud, and then Song Qingming felt the external pressure loosen up, and the fire cloud that had been wrapping Song Qingming disappeared instantly, and the blue bird that had been flying in the air with him also stopped chasing. After getting out of the fire cloud, looking at the blue bird that had been staring at him not far ahead, Song Qingming, who had little mana left, did not dare to escape immediately. "Boy, did you just use your own practice or magic weapon?" the red bird blinked and asked curiously. "Senior, you are joking. I am just a foundation building cultivator. How can I use a magic weapon like a spiritual object? I just used my own practice. Magic weapons are magic weapons above the 3rd level. This kind of golden elixir level spiritual object has the power of overwhelming mountains and seas. Ordinary foundation building cultivators cannot use it beyond their level." Since the Bluebird Demon King asked this question, it can be seen that it does not often deal with human cultivators. "Well, you can resist in my fire cloud for so long. Your skills are indeed a bit strange. Today, for your sake, I will let your friends go." Song Qingming almost vomited blood and anger at the Demon King in front of him when he heard this. "Why are you just staring at me? Can't you just ignore my face and go find them?" Although he thought so in his heart, Song Qingming didn't dare to say it out loud. He was not stupid enough to talk about this with a 3rd-level Demon King. Maybe he would be unhappy and he would be speechless again. Just when he didn't know what to do, the Bluebird Demon King suddenly fanned up a blue mist again. Before Song Qingming could react, he was already involved in the mist. This time, before he had time to use the Zhuangguan armor in his body, he felt his head sink and quickly lost consciousness. Deep in the floating cloud mountains, in a huge cave deep underground. In the middle of the cave, a woman in red, who looked about 17 or 18 years old, was lazily lying on a jade stone about 10 feet in diameter. "Qingming, didn't I tell you not to run around for the time being? We are here to seek refuge with Uncle Jinliu. If other evil demon kings know my identity, it might cause big trouble for Uncle Jinliu, Your Highness. This time I went out and not only did I not cause any trouble, but I also captured a strange human cultivator. I think he might be able to help you get that thing. Do you want to go and have a look?" The big green bird below, facing the woman in red above, spoke with a respectful look. After hearing this, the woman in red suddenly sat up and said to the people below, "Human cultivator? This is quite interesting." Song Qingming felt a few drops of water dripping on his face in a daze. His consciousness slowly recovered a little. He opened his eyes and felt that his eyes were still a little blurry. It seemed that his senses were affected by something. After sitting up, Song Qingming used his magic power to drive away the strange things in his body. Then Song Qingming found that he didn't seem to be dead. He should have been knocked unconscious by the poisonous fog released by the Bluebird Demon King and was brought here. After looking up, Song Qingming found that he was in a dark red cave. The cave was dozens of feet long and wide, and 4 or 5 feet high. At first glance, it looked like an underground world. What surprised him even more was that there were red stone pillars of different sizes growing above and below the cave, forming a red stone forest, which surrounded most of the cave area densely, like a small maze. Song Qingming got up and looked around in the cave. He soon found a cave entrance about 10 feet high in front of him. Just as he was about to walk out carefully, he found that his body was bounced back again. After a careful observation, he found that there seemed to be an extra restriction at the entrance of the cave that separated the inside and the outside. If he wanted to go out, he had to find a way to break this restriction first. Fortunately, this restriction does not seem to be very high level, and it is not difficult for Song Qingming, a formation master, to break it easily as long as he spends some time. Half an hour later, with a wave of spiritual power shaking nearby, Song Qingming finally broke the restriction at the entrance of the cave. Just as he was about to walk out, the scene outside the cave made him stay where he was. In front of him, a very beautiful woman in red was looking at Song Qingming calmly, and standing next to her was the Bluebird Demon King who had knocked him out and brought him here. Seeing that Song Qingming actually opened the restriction she had set at the entrance of the cave, the Bluebird Demon King looked at Song Qingming, who was stunned, with an angry face, as if he was going to swallow him at any time, and scared Song Qingming so much that he stood there and dared not move. You broke the restriction set by Qingluan so quickly. Are you a formation master among the human cultivators? The red-clothed woman asked Song Qingming with curiosity. Seeing that the woman in red actually called himself a human cultivator, Song Qingming was shocked. Could this woman also be a demon cultivator? This woman has transformed into a human form, and looks exactly like a human like himself. Generally, demon cultivators can only have this magical power of transformation after reaching the 4th level. Could this woman in red really be a 4th level demon king who commands a region? Seeing that the Bluebird demon cultivator at the Jinden level was respectful to this woman, Song Qingming instantly confirmed his judgment. The two big figures of the demon clan who could kill him in an instant were now looking at him at the same time. Song Qingming's mind was so frightened that it went blank. After a while, he slowly calmed down and replied nervously, Junior is indeed a formation master, but my formation level is average. I wonder why the two seniors brought me here. The woman in red thought for a moment, and continued calmly, Qingluan did not have any bad intentions in inviting you here this time. I just want you to go to a place to help me get something, help the senior get something. My strength is low, and I am afraid that I will delay the senior's important matter. Do you want to live or die? Before Song Qingming could finish his words, a cold voice like a sharp blade quickly fell into his ears, making him hold back the next words. Senior, please tell me what you want me to do. As long as I can do it, I will fight to the death for you. Hearing this, the red-clothed woman nodded and said with satisfaction, you can rest here first. I will come to find you in 2 days. Then you will know what you need to do. Chapter 177 Secret Realm. Junior Song Sen, may I know what your name is? Just as the red-dressed woman turned around and was about to leave, Song Qingming thought for a while and finally mustered up the courage to ask. You can call me Your Highness Fire Phoenix like them. I will be out for a while in the next 2 days. If you have any questions, you can find Qingluan. However, don't think about running out by yourself. There are monsters everywhere around here. It will be very dangerous for you to go out alone. After the red-dressed woman reminded him, she left here without paying any attention to Song Qingming. The monster king named Qingluan followed her respectfully. Your Highness, are you going to find the golden feather ancestor? After walking a distance with a red-dressed woman, Qingluan, who looked expectant, couldn't help but ask again. The red-dressed woman sighed and said, you are becoming more and more talkative. Don't ask questions that you shouldn't ask. Just stay here and keep an eye on this human cultivator. If I can get that thing this time, you will get something for nothing. Your Highness has been very kind to Qingluan. It is my duty to serve you. How dare I talk about benefits? If it weren't for your Highness's help to enlighten my bloodline, Qingluan would probably still be an ordinary demon king who is ignorant. It would probably take hundreds of years of hard training to speak like this now. Although I can enlighten your bloodline in advance, you still have to rely on yourself to practice. Your current strength is far behind those powerful demon kings. After the red-dressed woman left, Song Qingming also returned to the cave just now. This time, he wanted to escape, but it seemed that there was no hope at all. He didn't know what the two demon kings wanted to do with him, and whether they would let him go back after they were done. After sitting on the ground, Song Qingming's mind was full of thoughts about these questions. Before being caught, the Blue Luan Monster King seemed to have only asked about his own skills, but the skills he used at that time, the mysterious light armor, were just an ordinary skills that relied on mana to transform into armor to protect himself. This kind of magic was not considered a special and powerful skill among the foundation building cultivators, not to mention in the eyes of these powerful monster kings. The defensive effect of the body-protecting Qi transformed by the general third-level Monster King was much stronger than Song Qingming's mysterious light armor. How could they possibly look down on this ordinary magic on him? In the Red Cave, Song Qingming stayed alone for 2 days. After thinking about it, he still couldn't figure out what they wanted him to do, and he couldn't help but fall into a state of anxiety. It was not until the 3rd day that the Blue Monster King took the initiative to take him out of the cave and came to a larger cave outside. Song Qingming saw the woman in red again, but this time there was a gray giant eagle not far from her. "Qingluan, you stay and look after the house. Longfeng, take this kid with you. We'll set off right away." After the red-dressed woman finished speaking, she walked out first without waiting for anyone else to speak. The great giant eagle named Longfeng responded and rolled Song Qingming into his huge wings with his wings, trapping him in a cage-like darkness. It was unknown how long it had been. All he could hear was the huge sound of wind whirring outside. After about 2 or 3 days, in the darkness, Song Qingming, who had been dizzy, was thrown out of Longfeng's wings. He finally saw a ray of light outside. Song Qingming sat on the ground and rested for a while. He slowly regained a bit of clarity and looked around. He found that this was a white and boundless earth slope. There were no grasses around except for a pile of scorched stones randomly placed around. At a glance, there was a vast expanse of yellow mud everywhere. "Where is this?" Song Qingming asked, and felt that his voice had become dry and hard to hear. The fire phoenix standing not far away looked at Song Qingming and said, "This was once a secret realm of your human clan. It should have been opened up by a powerful cultivator in ancient times. However, after the human cultivators were driven out of the floating cloud mountains by our demon clan 10,000 years ago, no human cultivators have entered here. It is normal that you don't know about this place, secret realm? Why is there nothing here?" Song Qingming was a little surprised to hear the words of the fire phoenix. The surroundings were bare and the spiritual energy was very thin. It was not like the legendary secret realm that could breed spiritual creatures of heaven and earth. "Boy, your cultivation is too low, so you naturally can't feel the fluctuations of spiritual energy here. When His Highness opens the entrance to the secret realm, you will know it immediately." It was not the fire phoenix who answered him, but the giant eagle Longfeng standing not far from Song Qingming. After hearing this, Song Qingming suddenly realized with some shame that he was indeed too weak and ignorant in front of these powerful demon kings. At this moment, the fire phoenix standing in front of her suddenly ignited a ball of red flames in her hand, and a golden red feather fan appeared in front of her out of thin air. The fire phoenix stepped forward and picked up the golden feather fan, and gently swiped it directly into the air. As a golden light lit up, Song Qingming saw a golden crack several feet wide suddenly appear in the air not far away. This golden crack was like a scar, and it appeared strangely in the air. From time to time, there were lines of spiritual energy and fierce true fire, and occasionally it would fall to the ground. Song Qingming understood why the ground here was so desolate, and even the stones looked a little charred. "After you go in, you just need to help me take out a fire scale fruit according to the instructions on this map. 3 days later, I will reopen this passage. At that time, no matter whether you succeed or not, you must come out immediately. If you have any questions, please ask Longfeng now. I will send you in a quarter of an hour." After Ho Feng finished speaking, he threw a leather map to Song Qingming, then quickly crossed his legs, closed his eyes, and floated in the air. After listening to it, Song Qingming looked at the fire phoenix in a daze, thought for a moment, then bowed his head to the giant eagle beside him and said, "Senior Longfeng, I have never heard of a spiritual object like the fire scale fruit. Can you tell me something about it first? You can see it by just finding the valley marked on your map. It is the spiritual fruit with the highest spiritual energy level among all the spiritual objects there, emitting red spiritual light. However, don't walk around when you go in. There are all kinds of powerful restrictions everywhere in the secret realm. You have to find a way to adapt to the environment inside first. I don't want you to be unable to get out after your first entry, delaying your highness's important matters." Seeing that Song Qingming didn't seem to know enough about this secret realm, Longfeng kindly reminded him. "Sorry, I'm a little busy these 2 days because of school." Chapter 178 Entry. Song Qingming nodded quickly, then carefully asked Longfeng, "With your cultivation level of the late Jinden period, ordinary restrictions should not be able to pose a threat to a great demon king like you. Why did Her Highness ask a cultivator of the Foundation establishment period with a low cultivation level like me to enter this secret realm to help her get the treasure?" I really don't understand this. Long Feng flapped his wings, chuckled and said, this secret realm was created by a master of your human race. The interface restrictions inside are very powerful, and will suppress the cultivation level of all cultivators who enter. The higher the cultivation level of the cultivator, the stronger the interface suppression will be. Even a demon king of the nascent soul level will not be spared when he enters. Demon kings of us, who are above the Jinden period, will not be much better off than you foundation-building cultivators. Also, don't call me and King Lun the great demon kings of the late Jinden period, just because you see that we can speak. The reason why we can enter the transformation realm in advance is because the ancient blood in our bodies has been enlightened by His Highness. Don't talk nonsense in front of His Highness in the future, otherwise you will get into trouble. After listening to Long Feng's explanation of the secret realm, Song Qingming finally understood why they came to him. It seems that it is useless to have a high level of cultivation to enter the secret realm to get treasures. The reason why they came to him is probably because their Jinden period demon kings will be suppressed too much in the secret realm, which is more dangerous than their foundation-building cultivators. If you let those low-level demon beasts with low intelligence enter, these demon beasts basically have no brains, and it is difficult to avoid those powerful restrictions to get the spiritual objects they want. Finding a human cultivator with a lower level of cultivation like me to enter is indeed a good choice for these demon kings. This is probably the biggest reason why I can still live to this day. This woman named Ho Feng could actually help a Jinden demon king like Long Feng to enlighten his bloodline. It was obvious that she was definitely not an ordinary demon cultivator. As for the fire scale fruit that a demon cultivator of her level valued so much, needless to say, Song Qingming also knew that it must be a very precious spiritual object. Seeing Song Qingming lowering his head as if thinking about something, Long Feng continued, after the great war between humans and demons 10,000 years ago, this secret realm was also affected, and many places inside have been destroyed. In recent years, some of the restrictions in the secret realm have begun to get out of control. Especially when cultivators above the Jinden stage enter the secret realm, the suppressing force of the entire secret realm will be increased. Once the damaged restrictions are triggered, they are likely to fall into the space cracks around the interface. It's not that cultivators above the Jinden stage cannot enter, but it is sometimes more dangerous for you, a foundation-building cultivator. Don't think that because there are restrictions on the secret realm that suppress cultivation, we cultivators above the Jinden stage can't just enter casually. This Long Feng was different from His Highness Ho Feng's cold personality. After patiently explaining the situation of the secret realm to Song Qingming in detail, he also told him some questions he was eager to know. While the two were talking, the quarter of an hour that Fire Phoenix gave Song Qingming soon came to an end. The golden crack in the sky that she had opened with brute force had begun to gradually recover and shrink. At Fire Phoenix's signal, Long Feng rolled Song Qingming into his wings again, flew into the air, and threw Song Qingming into the golden crack. After a familiar spinning, Song Qingming fell directly into a dirty pool of water. Just as Song Qingming was about to use his mana to leap out of the pool, he found that most of his mana seemed to be imprisoned by the interface restrictions in this secret realm. The general spells that he could use easily at ordinary times were now too strenuous for him. After thinking about it, he decided to forget it and swam slowly towards the shore. He thought that this secret realm would not have much impact on his foundation building cultivators, but he didn't expect that he was only at the second level of foundation building, and half of his mana was suppressed after entering. It can be seen what those Jinden seniors would be like after entering. After landing, Song Qingming carefully observed the surroundings. After seeing that there was no danger around, he found a clean place on the shore, and then used a spell to dry his wet clothes. Song Qingming opened the map that Ho Feng gave him and looked at it. After comparing it with the environment he was in, Song Qingming quickly determined his position. Fortunately, he was in the southeast corner of the secret realm, which was a bit far from the valley he wanted to go to. It was probably thousands of miles away. In this secret realm full of restrictions, it was too dangerous to fly for a long time by flying on a sword. It was almost impossible. I didn't know if I could get there in 3 days on my own. The map given by Ho Feng was very simplified. The marked places were only a small part of the entire secret realm. There were also large unknown areas in the middle, which were completely blank. These locations were also places that Song Qingming could not touch casually, otherwise once he encountered the damaged restrictions in it, he would definitely be swallowed up by the space cracks. After feeling the abundant spiritual energy here, Song Qingming really admired the senior monk who could create this secret realm. Not only did he create such a large independent space with a radius of thousands of miles, but he also made the environment here the same as outside. If it weren't for the golden crack in the sky that had not completely dissipated, Song Qingming would not believe that he had entered another space. He didn't know if they would really let him go after completing the task assigned by Ho Feng this time. Now that he fell into the hands of these powerful demon kings, Song Qingming really didn't dare to think about his next situation. This feeling of not being able to control his own destiny was like a sharp steel knife on his neck all the time, making him dare not even breathe too loudly. In this world of immortal cultivation where the fittest survive, it was ultimately because his cultivation was too low. In QH County, a small place, Song Qingming could still be a master in front of those Qi refining monks. After going outside and meeting these powerful demon kings, he, a foundation-building monk, was like an ant, and could be crushed to death by them at any time. After taking a short rest by the pond, Song Qingming packed up his things, took heavy steps, and started walking towards the valley marked on the map. Just after walking less than 4 or 5 miles, a tiger roar suddenly came from the hillside, which scared Song Qingming, who was on the road. Looking back, he saw a white-browed tiger about 10 feet in size on the hillside on the right, which had already pounced on Song Qingming with a ferocious face. Damn it! How could there be a living monster in such a dangerous secret realm? Chapter 179 Missing. Qing County, Song family of Funiu Mountain. It has been more than a month since Song Qingming left Funiu Mountain. Almost all the Song family cultivators only knew that Song Qingming, the family's supreme elder, seemed to be away from the mountain, and did not know where he went. Only the clan leader Song Changfang knew the whereabouts of Song Qingming this time. At this moment, a Song family cultivator who had just broken through the late stage of Qi refining quietly avoided the people on the mountain and came to Song Changfang's cave on the side of the mountain top. Qingshi, how is it? Have all the ancestors of the Wang family really returned? Seeing the arrival of the person, Song Changfeng, who was a little anxious, hurriedly asked. After Song Qingshi took a breath, he replied, "Sixth uncle, I went to the market town to ask a good friend of Xiaoao sect, and it's true that several ancestors of the Wang family have returned. It's just that it's a little strange that the ancestors of the Wang family seem to have all gone into seclusion after returning this time. I don't know if something happened. I also asked Xian about it, but she seemed to have no idea. The family tree shows that Qingming is indeed still alive. Why hasn't he come back yet? It's really worrying," Song Changfang said as he paced back and forth in the cave, showing his anxiety at the moment. "Sixth uncle, why don't we go to the Wang family and ask directly? We don't know what happened. It's not a good idea for us to wait here for news. If the Supreme Elder is really in danger, we can respond as soon as possible." Song Changfang listened and nodded. "You are right. Qingshi, when you arrive at the Wang family, don't look for anyone else. Go directly to the Saint Moon Patriarch. After seeing her, you can say that I asked you to go. No matter what, Qingming is also going to help the Wang family this time. They should at least give us an explanation." Song Qingshi nodded. After leaving Funiu Mountain, he walked west for a few days and arrived at the Taiyuan mountain of the Wang family. After reporting the name of the Song family, Song Qingshi was invited to Taiyuan mountain. It was not until 2 days later that he saw Wang Shengaiu, whose face was a little pale. After encountering the Qingluan demon king that day, Song Qingming and the Wang family finally chose to break out in a scattered manner. In addition to Song Qingming being captured, the other 4 people of the Wang family almost couldn't come back. The clan leaders Wang Shengxin and Wang Shenggai were fine, only slightly injured. Wang Changlian, the oldest ancestor of the Wang family, was already dying after being hit by Qingluan. After being rescued by Wang Shengaiyu and taken back to Taiyuan mountain, he passed away in his own cave a few days later. Another Wang Changding, who had already joined the Xiaoao sect, was also seriously injured in Qingluan's pursuit. Now he has returned to the Xiaoao sect to recuperate. If it weren't for the Qingluan demon king stopping chasing them after Song Qingming was captured, it would be difficult for this person to come back alive. Wang Shengxin chose to retreat soon after he came back. Although they lost Wang Changlian, the family foundation ancestor, this time they still got back the Xianmeng flower, a third-level spiritual object. Wang Shengxin relied on this object to exchange for a jade dust pill from the Xiaoao sect that can help cultivators increase the probability of half-formed Zhan. In the entire Wei state, Only the third-level alchemists of Xiaoyao sect can refine this pill, and basically all of it is consumed by the sect. Wang Shengxin was able to catch up in exchange for one, and Song Qingming also contributed a lot. After Wang Shengaiyu saw Song Qingshi, he quickly guessed his intention and directly repeated the situation of that day to him. Hearing that his family's great elder disappeared because he encountered a third-level demon king, Song Qingshi was stunned for a moment and didn't know what to do. If this really fell into the hands of a third-level demon king, it would be too difficult for Song Qingming, a foundation-building cultivator, to survive. Today's Song family, apart from the deterrent power of Song Qingming, the foundation-building great ancestor, is almost as strong as a larger Qi refining family. Now the family only has a second-level spiritual vein, and it doesn't even have a set of second-level formations. With such a level, if they encounter a powerful foundation-building casual cultivator, the entire Song family will be in someone else's pocket. Little friend Song, please go back and tell your family leader to be relieved. Even if Taoist fellow Qingming can't come back, as long as my Wang family is still here, your Song family will definitely not be left unattended. Wang Shengaiyu saw that Song Qingshi looked distraught after learning the truth, and couldn't help but comfort him. At the Wang family, Song Qingshi couldn't be too out of control in front of others, so he quickly adjusted his state, got up and said goodbye and left Qingming Mountain. In the secret room of Gao's restaurant in Qinghefang, Gao Jin, who was happy, said to Lu Xing beside him, the Wang family suffered a great loss in the floating cloud mountains this time. Even the old man Wang Chenglian died in the hands of the monster, and the kid from the Song family seemed to have died outside. Taoist fellow Lu, now Wang Shengxin has retreated to form a pill, and Wang Shengai is the only one left in the Wang family. This is already their weakest time. If we don't take action now, when they recover, we will have no chance. Fellow Taoist Gao, I am still a little worried. If Wang Shengxin succeeds in forming a pill, what we did today will not be digging our own graves in the future. After listening to what Gao Jin said, Lu Xing was very moved, but he still cautiously put forward his own opinion. Gao Jin shook his head and laughed. Fellow Taoist Lu, you don't know that forming a pill is not that easy. Qing County has been established for 1,000 years. There are at least 5 or 6 people who have formed a pill. Among them, there are talented cultivators like Wang Shengxin. In the end, they all failed without exception. Wang Shengxin was really too naive this time. He thought that he could successfully form a pill by exchanging a jade dust pill from Xiaoyao sect. Little did he know that he was just wasting the resources of the Wang family. If he used the jade dust pill in his hand to exchange for a foundation building pill, he might be able to train another successor to the foundation building cultivator for their Wang family. At that time, we will really have a headache, don't you think so, fellow Taoist Lu? Lu Xing smiled. Did not answer, picked up the tea beside him and took a big sip. The day after Song Qingshi brought back the news that Song Qingming had disappeared, a group of casual cultivators suddenly attacked a small refined copper mine that the Wang family had recently controlled, breaking the 10 years of peace after the monster chaos in Qing County. This refined copper mine, located at the junction of the Wang family and the Lu family's sphere of influence, is a mine that has just been developed. The reserves of ore in it are enough to be mined for 300 or 400 years, and it can bring the Wang family a stable income of more than 200 spirit stones every year. Afterwards, the Gao family and the Lu family jointly took action to drive out this group of casual cultivators. Afterwards, they did not return the mine to the Wang family, but jointly occupied the spirit mine. For a while, the situation in Qing County became a little turbulent. However, what surprised all the cultivators in Qing County was that the Wang family was very calm after learning the news. They did not choose to start a war immediately. They only sent a cultivator in the late stage of Qi refining to discuss the return of the mineral veins with the two families. As a result, they were forcibly sent back by the cultivators of the Gao and Lu families. After Song Changfang learned about this, he quickly notified all the cultivators of the Song family and temporarily transferred them back to Funiu. Only the fourth uncle's family was left in Qinghefang. Everyone else withdrew to Funiu. The shops in Qinghefang were not only the Song family, but also the industries of other immortal cultivation families. Most of them were closed. Only Wang Xian's restaurant seemed to be unaffected and was still open as usual. Chapter 180 Growth. Wang family, in the meeting hall of Qingming Mountain. Wang Shengaiyu, the ancestor of the Wang family, whose injuries have almost recovered, is listening to the reports of several family elders below on the news they have collected in the past few days. Ancestor, the group of casual cultivators who broke through Funiu Mountain has been investigated. Their leader fled from Zhang State 3 years ago. He has been in Pinggyang County before. He has never dealt with the cultivators of the Gao family and the Lu family. On the surface, he seems to have nothing to do with them. Wang Shengaiyu frowned and snorted coldly. The two families acted so quickly this time, they must have been prepared in advance. They will not leave us any evidence for such things. It is estimated that those chess pieces that have been used by them have been dealt with by them at this moment. Withdraw all those who are still near Funiu Mountain. For the time being, our most important thing is to protect Taiyuan Mountain. Let's put the things over there aside and wait for the clan leader to come out of seclusion. Seeing this, the ancestor at the top has made a decision. Although several Wang family elders are a little unwilling, they dare not express their opinions on the spot, and not in response. The Song family has retreated to Funiu in the past few days. Song Qingming should not have come back yet. It has been so many days. I think he is really in danger. I even suspect that the people sent by the Song family that day who said that Song Qingming was not dead may have lied to us. The Song family may want to cover up this news temporarily, another elder of the Wang family said worriedly. Wang Shengaiyu nodded, sighed and said, we still have to keep an eye on Funiu. Regardless of whether what the Song family said is true or not, the news that Song Qingming is still alive is also very important to us. In case he really escapes and comes back, the Song family can at least help us share some pressure, and also make the Gao and Lu families restrain themselves a little. Ancestor, the Wang family has indeed been a little unstable recently. Since they learned that the ancestor of the family, Wang Changlian, had died outside, many people began to panic. In addition, the clan leader Wang Shengxin returned and immediately began to retreat, leaving Wang Shengaiyu alone to face these annoying trivial matters. In addition, after the Gao and Lu families found out about the Wang family's defeat outside this time, they couldn't help but take action directly, making Wang Shengaiyu very busy at the moment. Let's stop here for today. If you have any news, you can go directly to the back mountain to tell me. Now is an extraordinary period. You must remind the clansmen outside to be vigilant and never let the Gao family succeed so easily. After the few people below nodded, they were about to leave. An old man standing at the back hesitated for a moment and said, Ancestor. Xianjin went down the mountain to Qinghofeng yesterday. I guess he went to find Xian. I only found out about this early this morning. What do you think we should do about this matter next? Anyway, Xian has made sacrifices for our family. If she is willing to come back, you shouldn't have any objections. In short, our Wang family is still here, and we can protect even a small Qi refining cultivator like her. In Qinghofeng, looking at the streets that had become much emptier, Wang Xian called Li Quan helplessly. She was about to close the business early, but at this moment a somewhat decadent middle-aged man suddenly walked in from the door of Xianfang Tower and interrupted her plans. Father, why are you here in the market? Seeing that the person was her father Wang Xianjin, whom she hadn't seen for almost 2 years, Wang Xian's face was full of surprise, and she quickly invited him to the private room on the second floor. As soon as she sat down, Wang Xianjin anxiously said straight to the point, Xian, I came here this time to ask you if you want to move back home to live for a few days, go back to the Wang family? I'm already a member of the Song family now, there is no place for me in the Wang family, Wang Xian said helplessly. Hearing the sadness in his daughter's words, Wang Xianjin said with a little embarrassment, I know you still have resentment towards the family, and it's all because of me, your useless father. You have suffered a lot over the years, father, my daughter has never blamed you all these years. I'm actually doing well here. You see, my cultivation is not much behind those geniuses in the clan. You don't have to worry about me too much, Xian, you probably don't know yet. But Song Qingming went to the floating cloud mountains with several ancestors of the family this time. As a result, something big happened. Up to now, only 2 ancestors of our family have returned to the clan. Not only did ancestor Cheng Liang die outside, but Song Qingming also disappeared. The Gao family and the Lu family started to take action against our Wang family some time ago. The Song family is now in danger and can't protect itself. The entire Qing County may be about to change. I'm really not at ease with you staying here alone. Seeing that Wang Xian didn't seem to understand the purpose of his visit, Wang Xianjin anxiously told her everything he knew in one breath. After listening to this, Wang Xian calmly poured a glass of water for Wang Xianchen, smiled lightly and then said, "Actually, I already knew some of this a few days ago. I know you want to take me back for my own good, but I am still a member of the Song family now. I will suddenly run back to the Wang family when there is any disturbance. When Song Qingming comes back, how will the people of the Song family look at me in the future, Alice? How can you be so confused? Even our ancestor Cheng Liang died there. Song Qingming must be in danger this time. Besides, if the Song family really regards you as one of their own, why would they leave you alone in Qinghefang? I have just inquired about it. Except for a shop where someone still lives in the Song family, everyone else has retreated to Funiu Mountain. They never regarded you as their own family at all. Father, my daughter's cultivation has now broken through to the late stage of Qi refining. She does not need to stand behind others and ask for protection all the time. No matter how cruel this world of immortal cultivation is, my daughter will have to face it sooner or later. If God really wants to test me to grow in adversity, I think my wings will be fuller faster. Whether it's the Wang family or the Song family, even if they send someone to invite me, I don't want to go anywhere. This Xianfang Tower is my home. Besides, there is at least Senior Lu in Qinghefang. Ordinary people still dare not mess around here. You really don't have to worry about me too much." Wang Xian stood up after speaking, ignoring her father who was still a little surprised, and walked out with firm steps. Wang Xianchen saw that he could not persuade her any more, and did not stay here any longer. He shook his head and left Xianfang Tower. "Zuan, my daughter has really grown up, and she doesn't need a mediocre father like me anymore." Deep in the floating cloud mountains, in the secret realm, Song Qingming, who was covered in sweat, paced back and forth while looking at the boiling river full of poisonous gas in front of him. From time to time, he took a long breath in confusion, wondering what he should do now. After crossing the small river and walking about 100 miles ahead, he will find the valley he wants to go to. Today is the third day set by Fire Phoenix. If he still cannot cross this river quickly, Song Qingming will definitely not be able to reach his destination this time. What he needs to face next is truly unimaginable. Chapter 181 Bailing Valley. After walking in this mysterious ancient secret realm for 2 days, Song Qingming has already seen all kinds of dangers in it. In the secret realm, there are not only many strange monsters and puppets that attack people on sight, but also some places hide formations and prohibitions that trap enemies, and there are also natural barriers like the river in front of him that are filled with poisonous fog, which block the footsteps of visitors. Fortunately, the monsters and puppets encountered were not above level 2. Although Song Qingming's internal cultivation was suppressed by most of it, he was still half a foundation-building cultivator, and it was not a big problem to deal with some level 1 monsters. Although there were many formations and prohibitions encountered on the road, they were not particularly powerful. In front of Song Qingming, a formation master, they only needed more time to get out smoothly. The only thing that gave Song Qingming a headache was some of the most primitive barriers that blocked the road, such as poisonous fog, miasma, wind and sand, which were the most troublesome. In addition to breaking in, there was almost no other tricky way, and every time he encountered it, he would add some new injuries to his body. The small river in front of him, which was filled with the green poisonous gas, was only a dozen feet wide. It seemed as if there was some monster hiding in it and spewing out poisonous gas. There were bulging bubbles everywhere on the river surface. After these bubbles exploded, they would immediately turn into poisonous gas and flow directly into the air, forming this poisonous gas that blocks Song Qingming's progress. The many restrictions in the secret realm almost prohibited the monks from flying. It was naturally impossible to fly over from the air. If they encountered restrictions and fell into the river, they would basically have to wait for death. Song Qingming could only look upstream along the river to see if there were other ways to cross the river. Finally, he found a very old huge stone bridge connecting the two banks not far ahead. This stone bridge was in the small river where the poisonous gas was spreading. It had turned half green and was covered with poisonous gas floating up from the river. Looking at the map, if he wanted to go to the valley from his location, this stone bridge should be the only way. Since there is no other choice, we can only rush forward regardless of him. Standing at the bridge head, Song Qingming took a deep breath, and directly released the Zhuangguang armor and protective Qi in his body, and then took a detoxification pill in advance to be prepared. After preparing, Song Qingming ran to the other side of the bridge quickly, trying to rely on his own speed to quickly pass through the poisonous fog on the bridge. As soon as he ran to the middle of the bridge, Song Qingming felt that some poisonous gas had penetrated into his body. Because his own mana was suppressed, the power of Song Qingming's Zhuangguang armor was also reduced a lot here, and he could not completely defend against these poisonous gases. Fortunately, he ran fast enough and ran to the other side before the poisoning worsened. Song Qingming, who took the detoxification pill, still felt a little heavy in his head. This poisonous fog was indeed different from the common poisons outside, and even the commonly used detoxification pills had limited effect on it. Fortunately, the Zhuangguang Jia technique helped him withstand most of the poisonous fog, otherwise it would be difficult for him to reach the valley before the time specified by the Fire Phoenix. After taking a short rest, Song Qingming set off again soon. In this last section of the road, except for encountering a few monsters, there were no other dangers. He finally arrived at the Bailing Valley marked on the map before the specified time, a small golden valley with a radius of 100 meters. As soon as he approached the valley, Song Qingming saw from a distance that a red spiritual light was shining in the valley. It seemed that Longfeng was right. The strength of the spiritual energy in this red light should be the fire scale fruit in the mouth of the Fire Phoenix. Seeing that the thing he had been looking for with great difficulty was right in front of him, Song Qingming couldn't help but feel a little happy in his heart. He finally had a glimmer of hope to survive. The Bailing Valley is not large, and there is only one entrance to the valley. Song Qingming came to the entrance of the valley and found that there was a wind wall in this narrow passage into the valley that blocked his steps forward. He released the giant ape puppet beast from the storage bag and manipulated it to slowly enter the wind wall. At first, it was fine. As the giant ape puppet gradually went deeper, gusts of wind began to blow violently inside. In the end, he only felt a crisp sound like the collision of swords, and he suddenly lost control of the puppet. A moment later, with a burst of broken limbs made of spiritual wood, they flew out of the wind wall just now, scaring Song Qingming outside. He didn't expect that the giant ape puppet beast that he had just repaired not long ago would be completely written off like this. Song Qingming knew the defensive ability of this first-class puppet beast. To be able to break it into pieces so quickly, it must be at least above the foundation building level. With Song Qingming, whose cultivation had been suppressed by most of the time, he really had no confidence that he could withstand such a strong attack. Song Qingming looked around and decided to find a way to take a detour to see if he could enter the valley from another direction. Soon, Song Qingming circled the valley and finally returned to the valley entrance with a helpless look on his face. A very powerful psychedelic array was arranged around the valley. No matter which direction Song Qingming wanted to enter the valley from, he would eventually come out from the same direction for no reason. This psychedelic array was very cleverly set up. It would neither hurt anyone nor trap you in it. It was far from comparable to the arrays and prohibitions he had encountered before. With Song Qingming's current array level, there was no way to force it to break. Besides, he didn't have much time to waste on this. There was only half an hour left for the Fire Phoenix to give him. By then, he would leave here no matter what. Forget about him. I've already come here. I can only go all out and fight. After making up his mind, Song Qingming gritted his teeth and raised the only defensive magic weapon on his body, the Xianluo umbrella, and strode directly into the wind wall. As soon as he walked in, Song Qingming immediately felt a gust of cool wind blowing around him. The Xianluo umbrella in his hand felt a little resistance. Every time he wanted to take a step forward, it became more and more difficult. Song Qingming could only increase the mana in his body and inject it into the Xianluo umbrella. After walking more than 10 steps, but only a short distance, Song Qingming felt that the resistance in front of the Xianluo umbrella was so great that he was almost unable to bear it. Seeing this situation, he really couldn't move forward. He could only retreat from the wind wall with a helpless look. That's not right. Just now, my giant ape puppet beast was clearly destroyed after walking a certain distance. How come it can't move after walking such a short distance after entering? This is obviously not right. After Song Qingming thought hard for a moment, he suddenly slapped his head and suddenly realized that the problem was still with him. Chapter 182 Failure. After putting away the Xianluo umbrella in his hand, Song Qingming stepped into the wind wall again. This time, he did not use magic tools to block in front of him. He faced the breeze and walked slowly forward step by step. After a few steps, he gradually felt that although the wind force in front of him was gradually increasing, it was obviously much weaker than when he was wearing the Xianluo umbrella. Sure enough, Using magic tools to protect himself in this place would also increase the range of being blown by the wind, so that the wind force he needed to withstand would naturally increase a lot. This is also the reason why the giant ape puppet could walk farther than him just now. After walking more than 10 steps, as the wind force gradually increased, Song Qingming was forced to release the Zhuangguan armor in his body. This kind of protection formed by the magic power directly covering his body would not be affected here. Facing the increasingly strong wind force in front of him, Song Qingming tried his best to maintain the Zhuangguan armor on his body. 1 step, 2 steps, 10 steps, 20 steps, and only the last 10 steps were left. As Song Qingming got closer and closer to the finish line, the wind he felt gradually increased to the limit that the Zhuangguan armor could withstand. Wind blades began to cut through the protection and hurt Song Qingming's body, and soon he had several cuts on his body. The strong wind in front of him kept cutting the Zhuangguan armor on Song Qingming's body, which also made his mana consumption in his body much faster. In addition, when he crossed the river blocked by poisonous fog, Song Qingming's body also inhaled some poisonous gas, which was not completely eliminated from the body, so he had to use part of his mana to suppress these toxins and prevent them from entering his internal organs. Soon, Song Qingming's mana was consumed by more than half. At this moment, Song Qingming had to take out a pill from his storage bag to help restore his mana and swallow it. He began to use his mana to activate the residual map on his chest to speed up his absorption of the surrounding spiritual energy, which slowed down the rapid loss of mana in his body. Although the residual map here can help him continue to replenish his mana, it is still much slower than the speed of his mana loss at this moment, and there is no way for him to stay in it for too long. Not only was the wind blade a threat to him, but the strong wind blowing in his face had made him feel like a 1,000-pound boulder was tied to his legs, and his whole body was difficult to move forward. The remaining less than 10 steps away, like the stars in the sky, always made him feel a little out of reach. After about an incense stick of time, Song Qingming only insisted on walking forward 2 more steps. The mana in his body could no longer maintain the Zhuangguan armor on his body, and finally had no choice but to retreat from the wind wall again. Unexpectedly, Song Qingming finally failed to hold on to the dozen steps that were so close in front of him. He just walked out of the wind wall and sat down on the ground with a look of disappointment. This level mainly tests the mana in the cultivator. If he is fully recovered and given another chance, with the help of the incomplete map, Song Qingming still has some confidence that he can pass this level. Unfortunately, he does not have enough time left. When he came out of the wind wall, a long golden streak had been drawn on the empty sky. He had to go out in at most 1 stick of incense. Your Highness, this kid hasn't come out yet. He won't die in there. How about I go in and look for him, on a yellow and bald earth slope? Looking at the golden crack that was still motionless not far ahead, Long Feng respectfully said to the fire phoenix in front of him. The fire phoenix shook his head and said, "It will be difficult for you to find him in a short time if you go in now. After opening the secret realm this time, it will take at least 2 months before the secret realm can be opened again. It is too dangerous. Let's wait a little longer." Not long after the two finished speaking, a black figure suddenly emerged from the crack and fell in front of them. It was Song Qingming, who had just recovered some mana. At this time, his face was a little pale, and the clothes he wore were covered with dust. There were more than a dozen large holes and blood stains on his body. It was obvious that he had experienced a hard battle. Ho Feng looked at Song Qingming with surprise, and then walked forward to Song Qingming calmly. Looking at the woman in red who walked in front of him, Song Qingming coughed lightly and said, "I have found Bailing Valley, but when I found that place, the time you gave me was not enough, and I was already injured, so I didn't get through the restriction at the entrance of the valley." Song Qingming couldn't get the spiritual object, so he naturally couldn't deceive the other party. Anyway, he would have to face it sooner or later, so he could only bite the bullet and tell the truth directly. Looking at Ho Feng, who had been silent and still had a cold face, Song Qingming was really tormented at the moment, not knowing how she would deal with him next. "Have you tried the fierce wind formation at the entrance of the valley?" After a while, a somewhat cold voice came out of Ho Feng's mouth, pulling Song Qingming, who was thinking wildly, back to reality. Indeed, these scars on my body were left there. Song Qingming pointed to the place where the wind blades cut his body. Ho Feng nodded secretly after hearing this, and then a smile slowly appeared on her face. She said to Long Feng beside her, "Take him back first, and we will come here again in 2 months. Your Highness, I would like to ask, Can you let me go back after I help you get the fire scale fruit? Song Qingming gritted his teeth and tangled for a while, and still asked this question that had been tormenting him for many days. Since being caught by them, Song Qingming has been thinking about how to escape from here all the time, but in the eyes of so many high-level demon kings, he really has no chance. Now, no matter what, he is doing his best to help them, and he doesn't know if he can get a chance to leave. As long as you can help me get what I want, I will send you away from here. Killing a small foundation-building cultivator like you is meaningless to me. Just do your job with confidence. I will definitely do what I promised you. Thank you very much, Your Highness. I will do my best to serve you. After hearing what Ho Feng said, Song Qingming finally breathed a sigh of relief. A figure like her, who is like a demon king, should not fool a small foundation-building cultivator like him. As soon as Song Qingming finished speaking, Long Feng had already walked in front of him. With a whirlwind blowing, after another dark journey, Song Qingming returned to the cave where he was imprisoned before. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 183 Millennium Spiritual Milk. 2 months passed in a flash. Fortunately, the spiritual vein level in the place where Ho Feng and the others lived was not low, and the spiritual energy in the cave was enough for Song Qingming to practice daily. In these 2 months, although Song Qingming did not leave the cave, he became more familiar with the 2 demon kings, Long Feng and Qingluan, with whom he had dealt with several times. Generally speaking, demon kings, such as giant and level demon beasts, have their own independent territories in the floating cloud mountains. Like these demon kings, they almost all live together in this cave and rarely go out. They are very rare. Although these 2 demon kings can speak, their cultivation has not yet reached the late giant stage. The Qingluan demon king who captured Song Qingming here is actually similar to the white lion demon king he saw during the demon beast rebellion. Both of them have only advanced to the giant stage for a few decades. Long Feng's cultivation is better. He has broken through to the middle giant stage. He has also followed Ho Feng for a longer time. You were not a demon king born in the floating cloud mountains before. You followed Ho Feng from the northern border. Song Qingming actually knew very little about the monsters. Although he had dealt with monsters in the past, they were all low-level monsters of level 1 and level 2, and their intelligence was generally low, so he could not communicate with them normally. It was the first time that Song Qingming met a monster king like Long Feng who could speak. He found that he could communicate with them just like a human cultivator, and sometimes he could even chat with them about their respective cultivation. On this day, it seemed that the time to set off had arrived, and Song Qingming was led by Long Feng to Ho Feng again. Seeing that Song Qingming had fully recovered, Ho Feng nodded happily. Your Highness, to pass the fierce wind formation, it is best to prepare some spiritual objects to restore mana. I don't have much of the elixir I used up last time. I wonder if you still have this kind of thing. Just as the 3 were about to set off, Song Qingming suddenly asked. Fire Phoenix looked at Song Qingming calmly, then turned and walked to a cave nearby. After a while, she returned here and threw 2 small bottles directly to Song Qingming, saying, These 2 bottles have some effect of restoring mana, which should be enough for you this time. This is the Millennium Spiritual Milk. Song Qingming took the small bottle and opened it. He almost cried out in surprise. The bottle was filled with white spiritual liquid, which was emitting an attractive fragrance. It was a rare spiritual object called Millennium Spiritual Milk that was introduced in a spiritual medicine atlas in Guianfang. According to the records in the classics, Millennium Spiritual Milk is a spiritual object that grows naturally. This kind of spiritual milk usually only appears in the spiritual spring deep underground. After taking a drop, it can quickly restore 10% of the mana in the cultivator's body, and the effect is better than ordinary elixirs. Moreover, the Millennium Spiritual Milk, a spiritual object native to the heaven and earth, does not contain some poison like other acquired elixirs. Even if you take it continuously, it will not cause any major hidden dangers to your body. Song Qingming has been in the largest Yangshan Feng in Weiguo for several years, and he has never heard of anyone getting such a thing. If 2 bottles of spiritual objects like the Millennium Spiritual Milk were placed in the Weiguo Feng market, Song Qingming would definitely cause a sensation. After all, This is a spiritual object that even giant and cultivators would be jealous of. Now it is used as a spiritual pill for Song Qingming, which is really a waste of natural resources. Seeing that Ho Feng was so generous, Song Qingming was almost scared at first. He didn't know that although the Millennium spiritual milk was very rare, it was actually of no use to the demon race. This is why Ho Feng didn't even blink after giving him 2 bottles. Although the cultivation methods of humans and demons are similar, the physical constitutions of the 2 races are very different. Compared with the fragile bodies of human cultivators, the bodies of demon cultivators are stronger. The effect of taking spiritual objects, such as the Millennium spiritual milk, is far less than that of human cultivators, so this thing is just an ordinary spiritual object of low value in the hands of the demons. After confirming that the 2 bottles of spiritual milk in his hand are indeed useful, Song Qingming took a deep breath to calm himself down, and then nodded to Ho Feng, not letting her notice too much of the strangeness on his face. After the 3 of them set off, they soon came to the entrance of the secret realm again. After Ho Feng opened the secret realm this time, Song Qingming saw that Long Feng wanted to go forward and throw him in directly, so he took the initiative to fly into the secret realm. He didn't want to be thrown into a stinking pool by Long Feng again. After a quick turn, Song Qingming landed directly on a small hillside, and then he hurriedly took out the map and confirmed his location after entering this time. This seems to be the hillside where I encountered the first tiger monster last time. It shouldn't be such a coincidence, Song Qingming muttered to himself, and was about to put away the map in his hand and walk forward. Unexpectedly, a white-browed tiger suddenly appeared in front of him, helping him quickly confirm his guess. Looking at the familiar monster that pounced on him with a ferocious face, Song Qingming finally figured out why the monster puppets in the secret realm were a little strange. It seems that these monsters that appeared were all naturally generated in the secret realm, not real monsters outside, which can also explain why these monsters will fight to the death once they see the invaders. Song Qingming estimated that this place might have been a special secret realm for a sect to train its disciples 10,000 years ago, but now it has been so long that many of the restrictions in it have been damaged. After the flying sword took action and killed the tiger monster neatly, Song Qingming did not waste time here, and hurriedly followed the previous path and ran straight towards Bailing Valley. This time, the Fire Phoenix gave him 3 days. No matter what the result is, he must get out first after seeing the cracks. Otherwise, according to what Long Feng and the others said, if he can't get out by then, he may stay in the secret realm for the rest of his life. This time, he was more prepared, and with the 2 bottles of Millennium Spirit milk given by the Fire Phoenix, the chance of success increased a lot compared to the last time. After encountering the restriction of the Fierce Wind Formation, Song Qingming quickly figured out that the reason why Qingluan caught him was that she saw that the Zhuangguan armor in his skills, combined with the residual map on his body, could resist the fire cloud she released, so she decided to catch him. Because after entering the Fierce Wind Formation, the powerful magic tools and physical bodies of the cultivators will become a burden, and you can only use your own skills to resist it in the end. The Zhuangguan armor that can be continuously cast naturally becomes the most suitable spell for breaking through the Fierce Wind Formation in the eyes of the Qingluan Demon King. This time he entered the secret realm again. As long as his luck was not too bad, he should be able to pass through the Fierce Wind Array with the help of the spiritual objects in his hands. As for whether there was any danger behind the Fierce Wind Array, Song Qingming didn't know. He could only take it one step at a time. Chapter 184 Fire Scale Fruit. After coming in this time, Song Qingming, who was already familiar with the environment in the secret realm, rushed to the outside of Bailing Valley in less than 2 days. Because he had been there once, this time he avoided many restrictions that would delay his time on the way forward. When he encountered places where monsters would appear, he would not take action if he could, and tried to keep his good condition as fast as possible. Until he finally arrived at Bailing Valley, Song Qingming was not injured, except for the last river covered with poisonous fog. Song Qingming, who had no choice, chose to force his way in like last time, and finally inhaled some poisonous fog, which affected his current state. Fortunately, he had much more time to come in this time than last time, and he could spare some time to expel the toxins in his body first. After several hours of meditation and conditioning, Song Qingming, who was sitting outside Bailing Valley, used the detoxification spirit in the storage bag to eliminate most of the toxins in his body, and by the way, he also restored his mana to perfect state. After making preparations, Song Qingming, who was standing outside the fierce wind formation, took a deep breath and resolutely stepped into the wind wall again. On the lowest slope outside the secret realm, Long Feng, with a respectful face, suddenly said to the fire phoenix who was resting with his eyes closed in front of him, "Your Highness, do you think that kid can succeed this time?" The fire phoenix, who did not open his eyes, replied in a faint voice. It was his first time entering the secret realm, and he was able to walk to Bailing Valley without our special reminder. After all, it was a secret realm created by ancient human cultivators. Human cultivators can indeed adapt to the environment inside quickly in this secret realm, and their performance will be better than ours in the secret realm. Even if he fails again this time, it doesn't matter. As long as he is given more time, his chances of breaking through the fierce wind array will definitely be higher than ours. It's nothing more than spending more time and waiting patiently. Long Feng nodded, thought for a moment and continued, "If that kid really took out the fire scale fruit, do we really have to send him back? What if he reveals your identity, Your Highness, and lets other demon kings know the news? What should we do?" "So what you mean is that I should kill him? Long Feng, when will it be your turn to teach me how to do things?" After Ho Feng finished speaking, he suddenly opened his eyes and shot a pair of cold eyes at Long Feng behind him. Seeing this, Long Feng quickly knelt on the ground. "Your Highness, please calm down. I was the one who said too much. As long as he can help me take out the fire scale fruit and help me condense the nascent soul, no one near the floating cloud mountains should be able to easily keep me. Since I have already promised him to send him back, of course I will not break my promise. Even if he knows my identity, we don't have to worry. This kid is just a low-level cultivator among the human race. How could he have anything to do with our demon clan's high-level people? You have to remember that killing a human foundation-building cultivator is just like crushing an ant to death. It doesn't mean much. Keeping him alive may be of some use to us in the future. Not to mention the long term. When we want to enter the secret realm to get treasures in the future, he will definitely be of great help." After Ho Feng finished speaking, a strange smile suddenly appeared at the corner of his mouth. "Your Highness, you are still thinking long term, and I am worrying too much." In the fierce wind formation, Song Qingming, who was braving the huge gust of wind, had already walked to the farthest position he had reached last time. At this moment, he could no longer hear any other sound except the whoosh sound of the whistling wind. The Zhuanggun armor on his body, which was emitting green light, had also been cut into pieces by the endless wind blades. Fortunately, the Zhuanggun armor is an armor made of the mana in the cultivator's body. Even if it is damaged, it can be quickly repaired by mana. However, in this case, the mana required to maintain this spell will increase a lot at once. Although he had used the residual map to blast the speed of mana recovery at the beginning, he had been maintaining the Zhuanggun armor to protect himself, which also consumed most of his mana. Song Qingming did not hesitate, and directly took out a bottle containing Millennium Spirit Milk and carefully poured a drop into his mouth. After the spirit milk entered his mouth, Song Qingming instantly felt a warm current flowing down from his throat to his danshan, and the mana in his body quickly recovered a little, making the Zhuangguang armor on his body more solid. After walking here, Song Qingming was facing the most powerful place in the entire fierce wind formation. Although his condition was much better this time than last time, Song Qingming tried for a long time and still couldn't move forward. Staring at the exit of the fierce wind formation that was less than 10 steps away from him, Song Qingming summoned up his remaining courage, gave up some of his upper body defense, and injected more mana into his legs, so that he could move again. In this way, while moving his feet, Song Qingming used the 1000-year spirit milk and the residual map to replenish his mana, step by step, and kept moving forward. After a few hours, with a burst of green light, a figure staggered out of the fierce wind, and Song Qingming finally entered a valley full of vitality. After spending a full half-day and consuming more than a dozen drops of Millennium Spiritual Milk, Song Qingming finally managed to successfully pass through the fierce wind formation, a restriction that was much more difficult than patrolling. Could this be the Bailing Valley? Looking around, Song Qingming not only saw the red light that he had seen outside the valley before, but also found that there were medicinal herbs emitting spiritual light everywhere. This place was really different from other places in the secret realm. Not only was there spiritual objects all over the valley, but the spiritual energy inside the valley was more than twice as strong as outside the valley. Hulanghua, Bai fruit, Qingling grass, the medicinal herbs all over the mountains in Bailing Valley really surprised Song Qingming. He didn't expect that he would be able to see so many mature high-level spiritual medicines at once in his life. This really made Song Qingming, who had never seen the world, a little stunned. Song Qingming felt that this place was almost catching up with the spiritual medicine garden of the general big sect in the whole Uyghur. It was estimated that only Qingming Mountain of Xiaoyao sect could see so many different kinds of spiritual medicines at once. If he hadn't remembered that there were two powerful demon kings outside the secret realm who could kill him in a moment, Song Qingming would have really planned to celebrate on the spot. Thinking of the cold face of the fire phoenix, Song Qingming suddenly woke up from his excitement. He ignored the spiritual medicines all over the mountain and walked directly towards the red spiritual light deep in the valley. Is this the fire scale fruit? Song Qingming looked at the ball of fire wrapped in red spiritual light in front of him, carefully observing the surroundings, and slowly approached, fearing that a powerful demon beast would suddenly jump out of the spiritual object. Until he walked to the front of the flame, there was still no unusual movement. Song Qingming gradually relaxed a little. After confirming again that there was no movement around, Song Qingming directly stretched out his hands to grab the ball of fire. Chapter 185 Mission completed. Just when Song Qingming's hands were about to touch the flame, he suddenly felt a stinging burning sensation on his hands, which made him quickly retract his hands. This fire scale fruit is really not an ordinary spiritual object. I didn't expect that the layer of flames covering the spiritual fruit alone could actually hurt a foundation-building cultivator. This also made Song Qingming mutter to himself in amazement. After a while, Song Qingming took out a red jade box from the storage bag and placed it directly under the flame. Then he had a blue knife in his hand and used his magic power to cut directly at the root of the flame. There was only a crisp sound of clang. After a burst of sparks, the knife in Song Qingming's hand was bounced away and failed to take down the fire scale fruit. What level of spiritual object is this? Even the magic weapon can't cut it. Looking at the shaking fire, Song Qingming was stunned on the spot. After shaking his head, Song Qingming took out the second-level magic weapon Taoguang sword on his body. No matter what, he had come here, so there was no reason to return empty-handed. Injecting his own mana into the Taoguang sword in his hand, Song Qingming used all his mana and slashed it with force, and the entire fireball began to shake violently. This thing was so hard and there was no way to touch it directly with his hands, so Song Qingming could only resort to this last resort. With a series of crisp sounds, Song Qingming chopped it with his sword for more than 10 consecutive times, and the fireball finally fell down and fell into the jade box he had prepared earlier. After a while, the fireball in the jade box slowly went out, revealing a red spiritual fruit that was only the size of an egg. The red spiritual light that had been shining in the air also slowly disappeared. Song Qingming looked at the spiritual fruit in the jade box, carefully stepped forward to cover the jade box, and put it into his storage bag. After putting away the fire scale fruit, Song Qingming calculated the time. There were still 2 hours before the time specified by the fire phoenix, so he wandered around in this valley. There are so many spiritual medicines in Bailing Valley. If you take out a spiritual medicine of level 2 or above, its value will exceed the total of all the spiritual medicines planted in the spiritual medicine garden on Song's Funiu Mountain. Since you are here, it would be a pity if you don't take a good look. 2 hours later, Song Qingming finally walked out of Bailing Valley with a satisfied look on his face. At this time, a golden scratch happened to appear on the horizon, and the golden space crack that came to welcome Song Qingming was slowly forming. After the crack cut by the fire phoenix stabilized, Song Qingming jumped up with confidence and jumped directly out of the secret realm. As soon as he landed on the ground, Song Qingming saw the fire phoenix in red clothes walking in front of him. Looking at the fiery eyes of this woman looking at his storage bag, Song Qingming felt a little hurry in his heart, and quickly took out the jade box containing the fire scale fruit from the storage bag and handed it to her directly. Your Highness, take a look and see if this is what you want. The fire phoenix didn't say much, and quickly took the jade box and opened it to take a look. Then, a satisfied smile appeared on her somewhat immature face. And she kept looking at the fire scale fruit in her hand with a happy face. Since he met this girl, Song Qingming had never seen her so happy, and he couldn't help but stare at her in a trance. To be honest, Ho Feng's cold temper before, coupled with her beautiful face, gave people the feeling of being very distant. Now seeing that she suddenly showed the appearance of a 17 or 18-year-old girl, people suddenly let down their guard against her, as if the red-dressed woman in front of them was an ordinary little girl of the human race. Long Feng, who was standing aside, was also very surprised to see Song Qingming really take back the fire scale fruit. He couldn't help but look up to him twice, and secretly thought in his heart, "It seems that your highness is right. This kid really has something." He only entered the secret realm for the second time and successfully brought back the spiritual objects that so many powerful demon kings had failed to bring back several times in the past. Seeing Ho Feng so happy, Song Qingming gradually relaxed in his heart and wanted to wait for them to return. Just as he took a step forward, a familiar cold voice came to his ears again. "You seem to have brought a lot of spiritual medicines with you this time. Take them out and show them to me first." Upon hearing this voice, Song Qingming's face instantly turned ugly, and he thought to himself, "Alice, what kind of monster is this guy? His nose is so sensitive." Song Qingming then took out more than a dozen spiritual medicines from his storage bag with a reluctant look on his face. The quality of these spiritual medicines was above level 2, and there were 2 that were already level 3 spiritual medicines. They were all mature spiritual medicines that Song Qingming carefully picked out from Bailing Valley and were more useful to him. Although there were spiritual medicines everywhere in Bailing Valley, most of them were low level and not very useful to Song Qingming. Although there were also hundreds of spiritual medicines above level 2, most of them were not very useful for Song Qingming to improve his cultivation. He couldn't even recognize some of them, so he naturally wouldn't touch them. The remaining useful and mature ones were all taken out by Song Qingming at once. The reason why he only brought these dozen spiritual herbs out was, on the one hand, because he was afraid that if he brought too many, it would be easy for the 2 demon kings outside to find out. After all, once such spiritual objects fell into the hands of high-level cultivators like them, it would be difficult for them to share them with him. Although the demon beasts swallowed the spiritual herbs directly and would not make full use of them like human cultivators, a third-level spiritual herb would be somewhat helpful to their demon cultivators in increasing their cultivation, so there was no reason to give it to others. Secondly, Song Qingming also kept an extra thought. He thought that if the Fire Phoenix suddenly regretted after getting the fire scale fruit and did not intend to let him go back, he could still use the spiritual herbs in it to gain some value for being used, so that he would not be slapped to death by them immediately. "Good boy, you are really amazing. Where did you find so many spiritual herbs in the secret realm?" Long Feng, who was standing aside, was more direct. He could not see what Song Qingming was thinking at the moment. After seeing the spiritual herbs, he instinctively stepped forward and praised them. Song Qingming smiled awkwardly and said, "Senior Long Feng, don't get me wrong. These are actually all brought out from Bailing Valley. There are still quite a few spiritual medicines in there. Some of them I can't recognize the names of and are not yet mature. I really don't dare to pick them casually, so I only brought so many." Ho Feng narrowed his eyes and glanced at Song Qingming, but didn't say much. He took the cheerful Long Feng and went straight forward to check the spiritual medicine Song Qingming brought out. Then the 2 of them picked and took away 7 or 8 plants, and left almost half of the spiritual medicines for Song Qingming. This surprised Song Qingming a little. He didn't expect that Ho Feng not only didn't blame him for not taking them out at the beginning, but also left him so many spiritual objects. If he had known earlier, he would have brought more spiritual medicines out of the secret realm just now. Chapter 186 Return. 3 days later, at the border of the floating cloud mountains, Long Feng in mid-air looked at Song Qingming standing on a flying sword not far away, and said softly, "Song Xiaoyao, this place is not far from the place controlled by your human cultivators. I will take you here. After crossing the mountain in front, you should be able to meet your fellow cultivators if you walk a few hundred miles south, okay? Thank you, Senior Long Feng, for taking the trouble to help me get here. I will take my leave first." Song Qingming bowed to Long Feng, saluted, and then stepped on the flying sword and went south quickly. After watching Song Qingming disappear in front of him, Long Feng turned his head, flapped his wings, and quickly disappeared from the spot. After walking a few hundred miles south, Song Qingming looked at the mountains and rivers under his feet, which were becoming more and more familiar. Song Qingming finally breathed a sigh of relief in his heart. It was estimated that there were only a few hundred miles left from here to Guianfang. According to his own pace, he could reach there in half a day at most. After arriving here, he had already left the depths of the floating cloud mountains. Along the way, Song Qingming also saw several groups of low-level monks who came out to hunt monsters. Until now, there was still no movement behind, and Long Feng basically should not chase after him. The giant-level monsters near Uyghur, except for the once-in-a-century monster riots, basically will not appear within 1,000 miles of Gianfang. This is also the default boundary between the two sides. Once someone on one side rashly crosses the boundary, it is easy to track the encirclement and suppression of the other side with the same level of combat power. Even the giant-level ancestors or monster kings may also fall in the battle. After leaving the secret realm that day, Ho Feng finally kept her promise. Not only did she release him, but she also let Long Feng send him out from the dangerous depths of the floating cloud mountains. Song Qingming was really grateful for her arrangement. In a place where giant and demon kings are common, Song Qingming, a small foundation-building cultivator, is indeed not strong enough. Two powerful second-level demon beasts can easily send Song Qingming into reincarnation. It is estimated that His Highness Huifang must have thought of this and specially asked the Demon King Longfang to escort him personally. In the past, he had not come into contact with high-level demon beasts. In Song Qingming's eyes, most demon beasts were as ferocious and casual as the White Lion Demon King back then. Humans were just blood food in their eyes. Unexpectedly, there was a demon king like Huifang who talked about morality with low-level cultivators in this world. It really opened Song Qingming's eyes and changed his previous views on demon beasts. Just when Song Qingming was thinking about his magical experience during this period, he suddenly found that several cultivators were fighting at a place under his feet. After Song Qingming turned his eyes and looked at them, his face sank and he fell directly from the sky. Everyone, this is the place where my Fire Wolf Gang has set its sights on hunting monsters. If you know what's good for you, leave quickly. Don't wait for our people to come to support you. If you can't leave, you will say that my Fire Wolf Gang didn't give you a chance. 3 Fire Wolf Gang monks, who looked a little fierce, smiled and threatened the 5 casual cultivators in front of them, who were dressed differently. Although the casual cultivators had 2 more people, their overall strength was only slightly stronger than the Fire Wolf Gang. After a few rounds of confrontation, although they didn't gain much advantage, they still insisted on standing still and were not scared by the words of the Fire Wolf Gang members on the opposite side. If you want to hunt monsters here, we can give it to you, but you have to wait until we take away the blue bull beast we just killed. Do you think this is okay? The speaker was a middle-aged scholar who was not young, holding a folding fan in his hand. He was also the leader of this group of casual cultivators and the only cultivator in the late stage of Qi refining among them. What a joke. This place has long been our Fire Wolf Gang's hunting ground. The prey on the ground is naturally ours. Don't even think about taking this monster away. Among the 3 Fire Wolf Gang members, a bald man with a scar on his face laughed with disdain. Your Fire Wolf Gang has been on the Gianfang bounty order for many years. Now you are so brazenly coming out to intercept the prey. You really don't take the market seriously at all. Don't you plan to give us casual cultivators a way out? The middle-aged scholar shook his hand and put away his folding fan, preparing to continue the attack. Unexpectedly, at this time, a strange man wearing a bamboo hat suddenly walked towards the place where they were fighting. This also made both sides at the scene begin to get a little nervous, wondering whether this person was an enemy or a friend. Hey, stop. Whose subordinate are you, kid? Why do I seem to have never seen you before? The bald man of the Fire Wolf Gang quickly asked the man in the bamboo hat. The man in the bamboo hat was silent for a moment after hearing the voice, and suddenly said, Everyone, you are from the Fire Wolf Gang, right? Who are you and what are you doing here? Of course I'm here to make money. As soon as the bald man finished speaking, the man in the bamboo hat took out a blue flying sword from his storage bag. He shook the flying sword in his hand lightly, and it flew across the sky, turning into blue sword light and stabbed at one of the 3 Fire Wolf Gang late Qi refining monks. Facing the sudden attack of the monk in the bamboo hat, a Fire Wolf Gang monk who was in the 7th Qi refining level also reacted immediately and raised his shield to block the attack. What surprised him and everyone else was that as a blue light passed directly through, a huge palm-sized hole immediately appeared on the chest of the Fire Wolf Gang monk, along with a golden shield in his hand. The man looked at the hole in his chest, shook a few times unwillingly, and fell to the ground. Seeing their companion being killed by the monk in the bamboo hat, the remaining 2 were shocked and guessed that a mysterious man in the bamboo hat should be a foundation-building monk with profound cultivation. They looked at each other in panic and fled into the woods beside. We were hunting monsters here just now. Why are you running away again? The man in the bamboo hat muttered to himself and threw the flying sword in his hand directly at the bald man who just slipped. The green sword was like a flash of lightning. easily crossing a distance of dozens of feet again and caught up with a bald man. Compared with the previous person who was killed by a sword without any reaction, the bald man's cultivation is still higher, and his reaction will naturally be faster. He immediately sacrificed a long sword magic weapon, and used both hands to activate the magic weapon to block in front. Then, several talismans flew out of his hands, directly gathered into a large number, and turned into dozens of fireballs, trying to stop the chasing man in the bamboo hat. Unexpectedly, such a beautiful attack did not affect the progress of the man in the bamboo hat at all. He directly used a green light armor to protect his whole body and quickly forced his way through the big man's talisman. With a scream from the bald man, the man in the bamboo hat quickly killed another person. Although the last one ran a little far away, he still could not escape the bad luck and his head was cut off by his sword. Chapter 187 Old Friends. After the bodies of the 3 people were burned to death, the man in the bamboo hat collected the storage bags of the 3 people and returned to the original place. The middle-aged scholar who led the group saw the man in the bamboo hat helping so generously, and hurriedly took the people around him to bow and said, "I am Shi Chun. Thank you for saving us, Brother Shi. I haven't seen you for many years. Are you all well?" As the voice fell, the man took off the bamboo hat on his head, revealing a handsome face. Shi Chun looked at this familiar face in his mind and asked excitedly, "Are you, fellow Taoist Song?" The few fellow cultivators beside him were surprised to see that Shi Chun actually knew the foundation building senior in front of him. Song Qingming nodded and smiled. "It's fate. We haven't seen each other for more than 10 years. I didn't expect to meet Brother Shi again here, fellow Taoist Song. No, I should call you Senior Song. Thank you for your help this time. Otherwise, the prey we killed with great difficulty would be smashed by the Fire Wolf Gang again." Shi Chun's words were obviously full of envy. Compared with Song Qingming, who had become a high-level foundation-building cultivator, more than 10 years had passed, and Shi Chun's cultivation had only improved by 1 level. It was really hard for him to imagine that Song Qingming, whose cultivation was not particularly outstanding in the past, had successfully built a foundation so quickly. Back then, the two of them could still drink and talk happily, but today his status and Song Qingming's were very different, and he couldn't help but be more careful in his words. "We have known each other for many years, and Brother Shi has helped me before. Don't be too concerned about these empty formalities. You can't stay in a place of right and wrong for long. Fellow Taoists, please leave here quickly with me and talk somewhere else, then listen to what you say." Shi Chun nodded, and without further courtesy, he quickly ordered the others to go and collect the materials of the blue ox beast on the ground. Fearing that he had just killed the members of the Fire Wolf Gang and would bring revenge to Shi Chun and the others, Song Qingming simply gave up flying alone on the sword and disguised himself as a Qi Refining cultivator. He spent an extra day to send Shi Chun and the others back to Gianfang. Since leaving here that year, Song Qingming has not been to Gianfang for many years. He didn't expect that the tragic monster riots that year had no impact on this market at all. The people coming and going on the streets were very dense. Compared with the past, the current Gianfang seemed to be more prosperous. After Shi Chun and his team went to the market square to hand in the task, Song Qingming took the initiative to invite Shi Chun to the Xianfang building for a drink. However, when they arrived at the door, they found that although it was still a restaurant, it was no longer called Xianfang building. After asking inside, they found that the owner of Xianfang building had changed a long time ago, and the spiritual chef Hu Daozhen, who he knew back then, had also left Gianfang a long time ago. More than a decade has passed in a flash. I didn't expect that things have changed a lot now. I'm afraid that you, Brother Shi, are the only one who still knows me in Gianfang. Song Qingming picked up a glass of spiritual wine and drank it all. Shi Chun also said with some emotion, "Since Brother Zhang and his junior sister went to Zhang State, I am now like a lonely person. Now I have completely offended the people of the Fire Wolf Gang. I don't want to stay in Gianfang anymore. Brother Song, next time I come, maybe I won't be here anymore." On the way back, Shi Chun had already told Song Qingming about what happened to him in the past few years, which naturally included the fact that Zhang Tishan and Qin Yuniang went to Zhang State. Zhang Tishan was originally a cultivator of Zhang State. After the monster turmoil, it had a great impact on Zhang State. Many local forces were reshuffled. Many cultivators of Zhang State who had fled abroad in the past have returned to their homeland in recent years, including Zhang Tishan, who had been wandering abroad for many years and was homesick. And Qin Yuniang, Shi Chun's junior sister, had already developed feelings for Zhang Tishan a few years ago. They had become Taoist couples under the witness of Shi Chun, and this time she simply followed Zhang Tishan to Zhang's state. It took Shi Chun more than 10 years to reach the 7th level of Qi refining. It can be seen that it is not easy for these casual cultivators without foundation to practice. No wonder Zhang Tishan, a former family cultivator, is determined to return to Zhang's state. Brother Shi, if you really don't want to stay in Yianfeng and don't know where to go, you can also consider coming to Funiu Mountain in Qing County to find me. Although my Song family is not a powerful immortal cultivation family, it is still influential in Qing County. It is not difficult to help you find a place to stay. Hearing Song Qingming's words, Shi Chun was stunned for a while, and then he said after a while, "Thank you for your concern, Brother Song. I haven't made up my mind about this matter yet. If I really decide to leave Yianfeng, I will consider your proposal carefully." The two hadn't seen each other for many years, so naturally there were many topics to talk about. It was not until they had enough wine and food that Song Qingming said goodbye to Shi Chun reluctantly and left Yianfeng alone. It's strange to say that he met Shi Chun twice in the floating cloud mountains, both times after surviving a disaster. He always felt that this guy was like a nobleman in his life. Meeting Shi Chun this time was also a very coincidental thing for Song Qingming. Seeing a good friend in danger, Song Qingming would naturally not refuse to help him. In addition, he had fallen into the hands of several demon kings in the past few months and was ordered around by them. He lived a trembling life. The guys in the Fire Wolf Gang who liked to bully the weak were unlucky to meet Song Qingming, who had been frustrated for so long. After leaving Yianfeng, Song Qingming found a secluded place and turned out the storage bags of the guys in the Fire Wolf Gang. Now that his cultivation has reached the foundation building stage, and he is also a cultivator who is proficient in formations, it is naturally easy for him to crack the restrictions of these storage bags. It didn't take him much time to open these storage bags. Are they also poor? I really don't know how they practice. Looking at the pile of messy low-level spiritual objects in front of him, which could probably be sold for less than 100 spiritual stones in total, Song Qingming shook his head in disappointment. He thought that these people who like to rob houses would have some good things on them. After sighing, he quickly put away these things, and then Song Qingming directly released a flying sword, which turned into a green light and disappeared on the spot. This time, there has been no news sent back after being out for so long. Song Qingming estimated that those people on Funiu Mountain must have been very anxious. How come these Qi refining cultivators don't have any good things on them? Chapter 188 The Gao Family's Invitation. In the meeting room of the Song family in Funiu Mountain, including the clan leader Song Changfeng, several elders of the Song family have been sitting here to discuss for several hours. Clan leader, what does the Gao family mean by this? They are planning to use an empty shop with little business in the market to exchange for our shop with the best location. Isn't this robbery? Law enforcement elder Song Changsheng said while angrily slapping the table in front of him. Song Qingwen said a little depressed, 13th uncle, now the Gao family is powerful, and the supreme elder has disappeared again. It has been 3 days since we sent a letter to the Wang family, but there is still no news. They are definitely not going to take care of this matter. What can we do if we don't bow our heads? This matter can't be blamed on Uncle Six. I know this matter is not his fault, but I just feel so suffocated in my heart. It's uncomfortable if I don't say it out. Changsen, what do you think about this matter? The clan leader Song Changfeng, who was sitting at the top, asked the good elder Song Changsen, who had not said a word from the beginning. Seeing that everyone at the scene had turned their eyes to him, Song Changsen said calmly, since the Gao family is so powerful, we should just bow our heads. Without Qingming, it is almost impossible for us to keep these industries. In the world of immortal cultivation, strength is still respected. We are too weak in the eyes of others. When several elders of the Song family at the scene heard Song Changsen speak so bluntly, their faces suddenly turned ugly, but none of them refuted. Although this was a bit cruel to them, it was indeed the iron rule of the world of immortal cultivation. This was just the first step for the Gao family to test them. Next, they would find opportunities to slowly acquire the entire Qinghefang Song family's industry. As long as Song Qingming, the foundation building cultivator, did not show up, most of the Song family's industries would be taken away by others sooner or later. The experienced elders of the Song family who were present naturally knew this. Song Changfeng nodded and said, Everyone knows that the reason why the Song family can be what it is today is mainly because of the influence of Qingming's foundation building, not the credit of me as the patriarch. Now that the Gao family is so powerful, even the Wang family has chosen to stay out of the spotlight. Changsun is right, even if we don't bow to the Gao family now, we can't stop these things from happening. On the contrary, we may be used as a warning to the Wang family as an example. I'll send a message to the Gao family later. 3 days later, we will send someone to King Hufang to discuss with him in detail how to hand over this matter. Sixth brother, why don't we wait and see? Qingming is a lucky guy. I believe he can turn danger into safety this time. Seeing that the patriarch had made a decision, the elders did not speak again. Only Song Changsheng insisted reluctantly. Song Changfang looked at Song Changsheng, who was still a little excited in the distance, sighed and said, 13th brother, I am willing to believe that Qingming will be fine, but we can't gamble with the fate of our clan members. Now we can take a step back. At least the Gao family will not turn against us immediately. If we want to revitalize our Song family, we are definitely not able to do it with our current strength. It will not last long if we don't have the strength to pin our hopes on others. I have decided that no matter what happens next, I will try to build my foundation in seclusion. When I am in seclusion, Changsun will take charge of the affairs of the clan on my behalf. Sixth brother, don't be impulsive. Everyone was surprised when they heard that the clan leader was going to build his foundation in seclusion. Song Changfeng, the head of the Song family, is now over 80 years old and has long passed the best age for building his foundation. Moreover, the Song family does not have a foundation building pale now, so the chance of success can be said to be negligible. If you are not careful, you may lose your life in vain. Song Changfang smiled calmly and said, a cultivator's pursuit of the truth is nothing more than a life toward death. I have lived a dull life and always feel that I lack a little courage. I am not a person who acts on impulse. You all should stop trying to persuade me. Now that Qingming is gone, it is my turn as the clan leader to do something for the clan members. 2 days later, at the foot of Mount Funiu, Song Qingming had just returned. Before he entered the mountain protection formation, he suddenly saw a figure swaying not far below, as if he wanted to escape from here. Who is sneaking around here? Song Qingming shouted, and then turned his sword light and flew down to intercept the cultivator who was trying to escape. A young man in a yellow Taoist robe, seeing Song Qingming suddenly flying towards him, knelt down and said, Senior Song, spare me, I am just passing by here. Passing by? Which cultivator are you from? Song Qingming frowned and asked again with some displeasure. The yellow-clothed man rolled his eyes and replied, I am a casual cultivator, just passing by. You are really dishonest. Do you think I don't know that you are here to monitor the Song family? Before I get angry, tell me your identity. Song Qingming changed the subject and interrupted the man coldly, and his words began to emit a somewhat unhappy tone. Senior Song, calm down. I am Go Yulong. I am here to deliver a letter under the order of the elders of my family. By the way, I am here to see when Senior Song will come back. I have no intention of harming the Song family. Please understand me. Faced with a strong pressure emanating from Song Qingming, the yellow-clothed man, a little panicked, quickly opened his mouth and admitted his identity. People from the Gao family, I have only been away for a short time, and these people are really quick to reach out. Hearing this person report his name, Song Qingming instantly knew who sent him. Seeing that this boy was just a lackey who was arranged to monitor, Song Qingming did not want to embarrass him and kicked him out. Then Song Qingming stepped on the flying sword and circled around Funiu Mountain again, scaring away several figures hiding nearby. Song Qingming did not care about these people. He knew that these people were either from the Wang family or from other nearby families. Forcing them out was actually to tell them that he was back and there was no need to monitor this place anymore. Soon, the Song family cultivators on Funiu Mountain also discovered Song Qingming and hurriedly went to inform the clan leader Song Changfang and others. Seeing that no one was monitoring Funiu Mountain around, Song Qingming stepped on the flying sword and landed on Funiu Mountain. God is watching over us, and our ancestors are blessing us. Song Changfang and others were very excited to see Song Qingming return safely, and they all breathed a sigh of relief. During this period of time, they had been on edge since they learned about Song Qingming's disappearance, and they had not relaxed for a moment. After greeting everyone, Song Qingming directly asked Song Changfeng, Sixth uncle, has the Gao family sent someone over? Song Changfeng nodded, handed a letter to Song Qingming and said, the Gao family sent someone a few days ago. the head of the Gao family, Gao Jin, invited us to King Hefang to discuss some things in the market. Since you have returned safely, I think it is better for you to make the decision. Chapter 189, Dan Formation. Song Qingming picked up the letter and read it. After a while, he looked up and asked, "How is the Wang family doing?" Hearing this, Song Changfang first waved his hand and dismissed the clansmen on the side. Then he replied to Song Qingming, "Things are a bit complicated. Let's go to my cave to talk." Song Qingming nodded, and the two soon came to Song Changfang's cave in the back mountain. It took half an hour for Song Changfang to tell Song Qingming about some important things that happened in Qing County in the past few months, including the current situation of the Wang family. After listening to this, Song Qingming realized that the situation in Qing County had suddenly changed a lot in the nearly 3 months that he was away. The Wang family, once the strongest family of immortal cultivators in Qing County, not only lost the foundation-building ancestor Wang Chenglian after returning from the last trip to the floating cloud mountains, but also the pillar of the Wang family, the patriarch Wang Shengxin, has not been seen since he came back. There are even rumors that Wang Shengxin is either too injured and is recuperating in seclusion this time, or he has died like Wang Chenglian. Now, with so many industries in the huge Wang family, only the foundation-building ancestor Wang Shengai was left to support the scene, and since the incident of the Wang family, she has never left Taiyuan Mountain. In the past 2 months, after learning that the strength of the Wang family has been greatly damaged, the Gao family and the Lu family took the opportunity to attack, either bribing some independent cultivators or inciting the vassal family forces below, and have already seized a lot of the Wang family's territory. Faced with such a step-by-step situation, the Wang family behaved very strangely. There has been no reaction at all. Instead, they have continuously and actively given up some external strongholds and concentrated the main forces of the family on several important sacred mountains, such as Taiyuan Mountain. The Wang family's performance also made the subordinate families feel uneasy. Most of the subordinate families have closed their mountains to protect themselves. There are also 2 families that have been secretly ambiguous with the Gao family in recent years. Seeing that the situation is not good, they turned against the Gao family and directly joined the Gao family. As an ally of the Wang family, the Song family has also fallen into a very unfavorable situation due to the sudden disappearance of Song Qingming. At the beginning, although Song Changfang tried his best to block the news of Song Qingming's disappearance, the Gao and Lu families did not choose to take action against the Song family, but only sent people to monitor Funiu Mountain. As time went on, the Gao family soon learned about Song Qingming's disappearance. Seeing that Song Qingming had not appeared for more than 2 months, they gradually felt that Song Qingming should not be able to come back, so they began to think about the Song family's store in King Hefang. After sorting out the recent events in his mind, Song Qingming held the Gao family's invitation letter in his hand and said softly, "Sixth uncle, I did see Wang Chenglian being seriously injured that day. Under that circumstance, I am not surprised that he did not come back alive. But to say that Wang Shengxin is also dead, I think it is unlikely." Song Changfang nodded and said, "To be honest, the news we got was all heard from others. There is really no basis. But since the accident of you in floating cloud mountains, the performance of the Wang family has been really strange. If Wang Shengxin is really fine, even if the Wang family lost Wang Chenglian, the foundation-building ancestor, it is unlikely that the Gao family and the Lu family will be able to overthrow the current Wang family. There is no need to retreat step by step like now. Forget it, it will be difficult for us to guess it all at once. I'd better go to the Wang family to find Wang Shengai in person later." After discussing with his 6th uncle, Song Qingming thought about it and decided not to keep the appointment with the Gao family first, but to go to the Wang family to inquire about the situation first. Half a day later, Song Qingming arrived near Wang's Taiyuan Mountain and found that it was completely different from when he came here a few months ago. The entire Taiyuan Mountain was full of formations and restrictions, and it was in a tense atmosphere. After parting at Funiu Mountain that day, Song Qingming first heard the Qingluan Demon King, who caught him, say that he had let the Wang family go. Song Qingming thought that they all ran back successfully, but he didn't expect that the situation of the Wang family had changed so much now. To be honest, the Wang family really shot themselves in the foot this time. Just for a 3rd-level spiritual medicine, not only did they kill their own foundation-building ancestors, but they almost killed Song Qingming as well. If he hadn't been lucky and happened to have some effect on Huifeng and the others, he would probably have died by now. After arriving at Taiyuan Mountain, Song Qingming sent a sound transmission node to the Wang family's mountain protection formation. Not long after, a swordlight flew out from it. It was Wang Shengai who had parted at Funiu Mountain a few months ago. Wang Shengai was also very surprised when he saw Song Qingming. He quickly opened the formation and led him into Taiyuan Mountain. Fellow Taoist Song, after we separated that day, I came back and saw that you had not returned yet. I thought you were in danger. Since you are fine, why did you wait until now to come back? After encountering the Demon King that day, I was injured and had some inconvenience. I stayed in the mountains for 2 months to recover from my injuries. I am lucky to have saved my life. Did you all escape that day? Wang Shengai shook his head and smiled bitterly. Uncle Qinglian was also injured by the Demon King. He passed away less than 2 days after returning to Qing County. The others were fine and only suffered some injuries. Fellow Taoist Wang, please accept my condolences. I heard about this matter as soon as I arrived in Qing County. Some people also said that the condition of the Shengxin clan leader is not very good and he is in seclusion to recover. I don't know if this is true. Please tell me directly, Song Qingming asked with a serious look on his face. Fellow Taoist Song, it stands to reason that my family head is in seclusion. This matter is of great importance and I cannot tell you casually. But after all, the Song family has been an ally of my Wang family over the years. Since you have come here in person, I don't want to let you make a wasted trip. But now that you know about this, please help us keep it a secret and don't tell anyone else, Wang Shengai said with a heavy face. Song Qingming nodded, and after a moment said, don't worry, fellow Taoist Wang, I know how serious this matter is. Upon seeing this, Wang Shengai said mysteriously, ninth brother has been in seclusion 2 months ago, but this time he was not in seclusion to heal his injuries, but to break through the bottleneck of his cultivation. I think fellow Taoist Song will understand what I mean. Hearing this, Song Qingming's face was also full of surprise. After a pause, he said, fellow Taoist Shengxin, is he in seclusion to form a pill? He did not expect that Wang Shengxin was already in seclusion to form a pill. Although everyone knows that it is not an easy thing for a cultivator to form a pill, the foundation building cultivators who are qualified to try are all the best in the world of immortal cultivation. Song Qingming was really surprised that Wang Shengxin could get to the step so quickly. Wang Shengai nodded with a smile on her face, and then said, fellow Taoist Song, don't worry, ninth brother will definitely come out of seclusion in 3 to 5 years at most. Even if he has not succeeded in forming the elixir by then, we will still make the Gao and Lu families vomit out what they have eaten. I have something to do today, so I can only write 1 chapter. Everyone should go to bed early. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 190, Broken Flow Mountain. Upon hearing the news that Wang Shengxin was forming a golden elixir, Song Qingming finally understood why Taiyuan Mountain was in such a tense state, and even the mountain protection formation was running all the time. It would take at least a few years for a cultivator to form a golden elixir in seclusion. If they were forcibly disturbed during this period, they would definitely fail. For Wang Shengxin to form a golden elixir, the Wang family must use all resources and strength to guard Taiyuan Mountain. Compared with this matter, the territory swallowed by the Gao and Lu families outside is naturally not that important. Once the Wang family has a golden elixir cultivator, in the future, not to mention Qing County, the entire Jiangling County, big and small immortal cultivation families will follow the Wang family's lead. At that time, the Wang family will be the overlord of the entire Uyghur Northeast. After knowing this news, Song Qingming's heart finally stabilized a little. Regardless of whether Wang Shengxin can successfully form a golden elixir, as long as he, the patriarch at the peak of foundation building, is still there, the Wang family will definitely not fall suddenly. The only thing to note is that Wang Shengxin doesn't have too much life left. If he fails to form a pill this time, according to the 250-year limit for foundation building cultivators, he will only have more than 60 years left. If the Wang family cannot train new foundation building cultivators in the future, their status in Qing County will decline. Although it is difficult for cultivators to form a pill, it is not as dangerous as building a foundation. If a cultivator fails to form a pill, it only takes a few years of healing to recover. However, if he wants to form a pill again, it depends on whether he can find another spiritual object that can assist in forming a pill. Fellow Taoist Wang, the Gao family is so aggressive now. I wonder if you have any way to deal with it. Wang Shengai looked at Song Qingming and sighed. The reason why the Gao family is so aggressive this time is because they cultivated a younger generation of foundation building a few years ago. This person is called Gao Yubei, and he is a second spiritual root cultivator. Although the time he built his foundation is not much different from yours, this person is extremely talented, and his current cultivation is probably higher than yours. The Gao family also has a foundation building cultivator hidden. Why has no one ever talked about this? Song Qingming asked with a puzzled look. Wang Shengai smiled and said slowly, otherwise, why do you think Gao Jin is so confident to attack our Wang family this time? Although the Gao family has hidden this person very well over the years, it is not so easy to completely avoid the eyes and ears of our Wang family. In fact, we already knew about this person's situation 2 years ago. Song Qingming nodded after listening, and he immediately figured out the problem in his mind. The Gao family has one more foundation building cultivator, and with the help of losing, even if Wang Shengxin is fine, their side is already strong enough to compete with the 2 foundation building cultivators of the Wang family. No wonder they now have the courage to turn against each other, and the Wang family has not dared to fight back. Fellow Taoist Song, now that the Gao and Lu families are forcing us so much, I have been a little overwhelmed these days. Now that you are back, I want to take this opportunity to show them a little bit of my power so that they can restrain themselves next time. What do you think? Our 2 families have long been of the same blood. Fellow Taoist Wang, please speak frankly if you have any ideas. Wang Shengai already knew about the Gao family's coercion of the Song family. This time Song Qingming took the initiative to find her, which just gave her the opportunity to propose a joint attack against the enemy. The Wang family has occupied more than half of Qing County's resources for many years. This time there is an opportunity. Gao Jin and the Lu family will work together to seize the Wang family's territory. It is indeed expected. However, he did not expect that when he was away, Gao Jin and the Song family would not let go. Both parties have now turned against each other. Song Qingming now wants to stand on the same boat with the Wang family, but now it is impossible. Wang Shengai nodded and said in a deep voice, in the past 2 months, the Gao family has occupied several of my Wang family's sacred mountains. One of them is rich in refined copper. It is a more important mine of my Gao family. The Gao family must have sent heavy troops to guard this place. I plan to join forces with you to take it back directly. As long as your Song family agrees to take action, I can decide to give up 40% of the shares after the matter is accomplished. Our 2 families can then jointly mine this mine. What do you think, fellow Taoist Song? Song Qingming heard that the Wang family was willing to use a small half of the ore vein to ask them to help. This was indeed a good reward for the Song family. Song Qingming thought about it for a while and soon agreed. After the 2 agreed on the plan, Song Qingming quickly left Qi Mountain and returned to Funiu Mountain to prepare to mobilize the Song family cultivators. A few days later, next to High Mountain hundreds of miles south of Wang's Qi Mountain. This mountain is called Funiu Mountain, located at the border of the Wang and Lu forces. Originally, it was just a deserted mountain with few people and no spiritual veins. 20 years ago, a Qi refining family under the Wang family accidentally discovered a large-scale refined copper vein on this mountain. After some investigation, the cultivator of that family found that his family was too weak to mine this vein, so he simply presented this vein directly to the Wang family in exchange for some rewards and shares. After the Wang family obtained this vein, they quickly cultivated a first-class upper-grade spiritual vein here, and also moved a lot of mortals to help mine ore as time went on. Funiu Mountain soon became a spiritual mountain with abundant spiritual energy. Not long after, the Lu family in the south also learned about the Wang family's mining of the Funiu Mountain's copper ore. Because the mountain was located in the border area between the 2 families, the Lu family originally wanted to get a share of the spoils. However, because the Wang family was so powerful at the time, after receiving Lu Xing's invitation to jointly mine the vein, they decisively refused and did not give the Lu family face. As a result, the 2 families began to have a feud that year. Just after noon, a Wang family cultivator in the late Qi refining stage, wearing the unique robes of the Wang family cultivators, swaggered towards Funiu Mountain. Just as he walked to the mountain protection formation, Two Gao family cultivators suddenly jumped out and stopped him. My two fellow Daoists, I am Wang Xiantang from Taiyuan Mountain. I am here on the orders of my family to discuss the return of Duanliu Mountain. Please inform me, fellow Taoist Wang, please go in. It seems that this person is indeed from the Wang family, and he knows etiquette very well. He should be sent by the Wang family to discuss the return of this mine. One person has come before. Seeing this, the two people from the Gao family did not say much and directly invited him into the formation. However, before an instant of time had passed, several people from the Gao family drove Wang Xiantang down from the mountain together, with some displeasure on their faces. You are really too much? This is originally the sacred mountain of my Wang family. Excuse me, why do you Gao family have been occupying it for no reason? Don't you have your own sacred mountain? Chapter 191 Go Yubei. Looking at Wang Xiantang, who was still chattering, a cultivator with a higher level in the Gao family looked at him with contempt and sneered at him. It's true that this place used to belong to your Wang family, but your Wang family is useless. They failed to defend the sacred mountain and lost it to others. Our Gao family paid a lot of blood to snatch it from the hands of casual cultivators. You want to take it back for free without spending a single spiritual stone. Is it possible that the Wang family has no one left, so they sent someone as ignorant as you to beg here? Wang Xiantang's face turned red with anger when he heard it. He took out his flying sword and said to the man, "Good boy, you are young, but you have a big tone. You dare to laugh at my Wang family for having no one. Do you dare to fight me with swords?" After that, Wang Xiantang took the initiative to walk to an open place not far away, turning his head and looking at him provocatively. You want to fight me with swords? This Gao family cultivator had already reached the 9th level of Qi Refining. Seeing that a cultivator of the 7th level of Qi Refining from the Wang family dared to challenge him, he almost laughed out loud. Could this kid have gone crazy? Although cultivators of the 7th level and the 9th level of Qi Refining were both in the late stage of Qi Refining, the difference in strength between the two was not a little bit. I really don't know where this guy got the courage from. However, it was feasible to humiliate this person on the spot. In front of so many cultivators of the same clan, it was just the right opportunity to show off his prestige and give the Gao family a good face. Thinking of this, the cultivator of the Gao family also picked up the flying sword in his hand and followed. Boy, you still have time to admit defeat and get out now. It will be too embarrassing to lose later. Don't say that I didn't remind you. The Gao family cultivator looked at the cultivators of the same clan who were looking at him not far behind him, and kindly reminded Wang Xiantang, who was stunned in front of him. However, Wang Xiantang seemed to still not understand. He raised the sword in his hand and smiled at him. Dao, if you are afraid, how about I let you have a move first? Looking for death, the Gao family monk stabbed Wang Xiantang with the flying sword in his hand. The speed of this sword was extremely fast, and the force was certainly not small. In the blink of an eye, it had reached Wang Xiantang. Wang Xiantang saw that the flying sword in his hand had also moved in front of him, ready to block this attack. His face changed from the stunned look just now, and instantly became very serious. When the flying sword of the Gao family monk was less than a foot away from him, Wang Xiantang suddenly withdrew the flying sword in his hand, gave up resistance directly, and turned his body to the side. Seeing this, the Gao family monk's face changed drastically, and quickly withdrew most of the force, but part of the flying sword still pierced Wang Xiantang's shoulder. Help! The Gao family monk killed people. Wang Xiantang covered his shoulder with one hand and began to scream in pain. This time, not only the Gao family cultivator who was fighting with him, but also the several people who were watching on the side were stunned for a moment, looking at this person with surprise. When they were stunned for a while and realized that something was wrong, more than a dozen Wang family cultivators suddenly appeared around them and surrounded them. 19th brother just came to discuss the matter of returning to Duanliu Mountain with you. You Gao family actually killed people just because of a disagreement. This is too much? You really think that my Wang family has no one left, right? Everyone, come together and don't let them go. With the order of the leading Wang family cultivator, more than a dozen Wang family cultivators who had been prepared for a long time, threw the magic tools and talismans in their hands directly at the several Gao family cultivators who were surrounded without holding back. After a while, with a few screams, the besieged Gao family cultivators fell to the ground without a sound, leaving only two people still struggling to hold on. Who dares to attack my Gao family? With a loud shout, more than a dozen Gao family and Lu family cultivators rushed out from Duanliu Mountain. Seeing several Gao family monks still under siege not far away, these people also became anxious and rushed over to help. However, just as they were fighting with the Wang family monks, more Wang family monks appeared and surrounded them directly. Seeing that the situation was not good, the Gao family monks realized that the Wang family wanted to surround and kill them all here this time, and hurriedly tried to break out of the Funiu Mountain formation. In the end, after leaving behind 5 or 6 bodies, they successfully hid in the formation. The Wang family monks, led by several leading elders, surrounded the entire Funiu Mountain tightly. In Funiu Mountain, there were less than 30 monks from the Gao and Lu families stationed here. They had just fought outside and lost 7 people at once. The remaining people saw that there were Wang family monks at the foot of the mountain, and they lost the confidence to break out. They could only lock themselves in the mountain protection formation and send signals for support. The Wang family brought 50 monks this time, and there were also a dozen Song family monks wearing Wang family clothing. The total number was several times the number of people in the Funiu Mountain formation. With so many people attacking the formation at the same time, it would be difficult for the people inside to defend. In addition, the Funiu Mountain protection formation was originally set up by the Wang family. Although the Gao family later asked the formation master to modify it, the Wang family still knew the weak points of the formation. As everyone attacked in turn, the Funiu Mountain protection formation soon began to shake. More than half an hour later, as a yellow light slowly approached from the horizon, the Gao family monks in the already precarious Funiu Mountain finally welcomed an important reinforcement, the Gao family's foundation building monk. The young man in white standing on the flying sword looked at the many Wang family monks who were besieging Funiu Mountain in front of him, and his face was also full of surprise and doubt. What happened? The Wang family, who had not dared to make any moves before, actually sent out so many monks to attack Funiu Mountain at once. Young man, how dare you be so presumptuous here? The young man in white was in the air, casting a spell with his hands, and a huge blade of light slowly formed. Finally, he used the thousand blades technique directly on the crowd below. Countless wind blades fell directly to the ground like rain, but before he could completely fall, a figure jumped out from the side, raised a jade plate, and released a light curtain to block all the blades. Your Excellency is so shameless to bully the weak. Aren't you afraid of being ridiculed by your peers? Looking at Wang Shengaiyu in front of him, the young man in white did not feel surprised. Just when he wanted to bow, he didn't expect that another person came from behind on a sword and directly surrounded him. The person who came was Song Qingming, who had not appeared in Qing County for a long time. When Gao Yubei saw Wang Shengaiyu at first, there was no change on his face, which was also what he expected, but when he saw Song Qingming suddenly appear, he still showed a hint of surprise. Obviously, he didn't know that Song Qingming had returned. Seeing the two men surrounding him, Gao Yubei did not seem too panicked, and directly said to the two, Gao family, Gao Yubei greets fellow Taoist Wang and fellow Taoist Song. Wang Shengaiyu saw this and returned the greeting, fellow Taoist Gao, are you here to speak up for the people who occupied the Wang family's Funiu Mountain and wanted to kill our cultivators? Chapter 192 Ambush. Killing a Wang family cultivator, how is this possible? Is there some misunderstanding? Please give me some face and ask the people below to stop first. How about we investigate this matter and then deal with it? Wang Shengaiyu shook his head and sneered, so many people saw it with their own eyes. It was these people below who just attacked my Wang family cultivator. If this matter cannot be resolved now, how can I explain to the hundreds of cultivators in the Wang family in the future? After saying this, Wang Shengaiyu did not wait for Gao Yubei to reply. He shook his sleeves and revealed a purple flying sword. Then a purple light shot out from the flying sword and took Gao Yubei's head directly. The purple light cut through the sky and turned into a residual image, and it was immediately in front of Gao Yubei. Seeing that Wang Shengaiyu obviously didn't intend to talk to him, Gao Yubei's face changed. He knew that the Wang family would definitely not let them go easily today. He could only bite the bullet and take out a tortoise-shell magic weapon from the storage bag. He threw it lightly and it instantly became several times larger. He held it in front of him and firmly blocked Wang Shengaiyu's attack. Seeing that Gao Yubei used a rare second-level defensive magic weapon, Song Qingming was also a little surprised. You know, although he has several second-level magic weapons in his hand, none of them is a defensive magic weapon. Such good things are rare in the market. After blocking Wang Shengaiyu's sword light, Gao Yubei didn't care about the remaining low-level cultivators in the Funiu Mountain below. He turned around and wanted to go back the same way. But before he could fly 2 steps, another sharp white sword light attacked his side. It was Qingming who had been blocking him behind. Seeing this, Gao Yubei quickly dodged the sword and stopped running. Qingming, today is the matter between the Wang family and my Gao family. You are so blatant to help the Wang family to deal with me. Aren't you afraid of breaking the rules of Xiaoyao sect and exterminating your entire Song family in the future, Alice? Fellow Taoist Gao, you are joking. I was just passing by here today. I happened to be blocked by the fight between the 2 Taoists. That's why I had to protect myself. When did I hurt anyone from your Gao family? Qingming touched the flying sword in his hand and said with a serious smile. Wang Shengaiyu also followed sarcastically after hearing this. In order to seize Funiu Mountain, your Gao family did not hesitate to bribe the scattered cultivators to kill more than a dozen members of my Wang family. Who broke the rules of Xiaoyao sect first? Should I ask the Taoists of Xiaoyao sect to come and investigate this matter, before setting off this time? Wang Shengaiyu and Qingming had already discussed that the main purpose of this battle was to help the Wang family recapture Funiu Mountain. The second was to surround a point and attack the reinforcements to see if they could ambush the foundation-building cultivators of the Gao and Lu families and teach them a lesson. Gao Jin is still stationed in Qinghefang, and he certainly can't come here in a short time. The only 2 people who can come to support them this time are Lu Xingde and Gao Yubei. As long as these 2 people don't arrive on time, the Wang family should be able to ambush one of them. Originally, they thought that this place was closer to the Lu family, and Lu Xingde would come over soon, but they didn't expect that Gao Yubei would arrive first, so they would naturally not let him go. In this case, fellow Taoists, let's see who is the real one today, Gao Yubei shouted, and then took out 2 short blades and rushed directly towards Qingming. Facing Gao Yubei's active attack, Qingming did not retreat either. The flying sword in his hand then charged up to meet it. The 2 people's magic weapons collided directly in the air at close range. With a loud bang, the 2 of them retreated a little in the air, and Qingming obviously retreated more. At this time, Qingming looked at Gao Yubei, and there was a hint of surprise in his eyes. After practicing the Yuxin Sutra, the mana in my body is obviously stronger than that of cultivators with similar realms. Gao Yubei is only at the 3rd level of foundation building. I didn't expect that he has so much more mana in his body than me. It seems that this guy is not practicing any ordinary skills. Although Gao Yubei built his foundation 2 years earlier than Qingming, he is much younger than Qingming. Now he is only in his 40s. The cultivation speed of the genius with dual spiritual roots is far faster than that of ordinary cultivators like Qingming. If this guy is allowed to grow up in the future, his future will definitely be limitless. It is estimated that he will be more difficult to deal with than Gao Jin. Thinking of this, Qingming couldn't help but break a cold sweat on his back. It would be great if he could leave this guy here today. Just as the 2 of them were fighting, Wang Shengaiyu's flying sword in his hand had already killed here with a monstrous momentum, and chopped down Gao Yubei, who had just stood firm, with a sword, vowing to split him in half. Gao Yubei saw that this attack was a bit powerful, so he quickly turned sideways and used his body skills to avoid this fierce attack. But before Gao Yubei could feel happy for a moment, a mist suddenly rose around him, and he felt something strange coming from his feet, which made him look down quickly. He found that 2 iron chains as thick as his arms had shot out from a talisman next to him and directly wrapped around her feet. This was a 2nd-level talisman used by Qingming, which was specially used to trap the enemy. Gao Yubei saw that the situation was not good, and he became ruthless. He chopped the magic weapon in his hand more than 10 times and cut off 1 iron chain directly. Just as he continued to try to cut off the iron chain on the other foot, a more powerful red flame shaped like a big knife suddenly appeared in the sky and flooded him directly. Gao Yubei, seeing that he could not get away first, could only use the tortoise shell magic power in his hand again, and forcibly took on Wang Shengaiyu's attack. With a louding sound, the tortoise shell on Gao Yubei's head was directly split into 2 pieces by the red fire knife, and it immediately lost its spiritual light and turned into an ordinary shell. Gao Yubei himself was also directly thrown out more than 10 feet away by the aftermath of this attack, and almost fell from the air. The attack that Wang Shengaiyu just launched was a 2nd-level middle-grade spiritual talisman fire knife talisman. The attack power of this talisman far exceeds that of ordinary first-level spiritual talismans, which is her biggest killer. Looking at Gao Yubei, not only was the defensive magic weapon in his hand cut off by them, but he was also thrown out with him, spitting blood and was seriously injured. It can be seen that the power of this spiritual talisman just now is great. Gao Yubei saw that his biggest reliance, the defensive magic weapon, was destroyed. If the fight continued, he was afraid that he would be left here. He hurriedly threw out a few low-level spiritual talismans to block the two people and quickly fled in another direction, to the Lu family. Wang Shengaiyu's attack just now also directly hit Gao Yubei dozens of feet away, which also gave him a good opportunity to escape. This place is not far from the Lu family. He had sent a message to Lu Xing when he came here. Logically, he should be not far from here. If he wants to survive now, he can only hope that he can reunite with Lu Xing quickly. Chase, Wang Shengaiyu and Song Qingming looked at each other, then they released their flying swords, turned into two green lights and chased after him. Rest early. Chapter 193 Critical Illness. After chasing for dozens of miles, just when Wang Shengaiyu and Song Qingming were about to catch up with Gao Yubei, a black light appeared in the distant sky and flew towards them quickly. Gao Bei'er was overjoyed when he saw this and quickly increased his speed. Seeing that the person coming was losing, Wang Shengaiyu and Song Qingming couldn't help but sigh, stopped chasing and turned back. In fact, the two of them didn't really want to kill Gao Yubei at the beginning, but they found that this kid was quite powerful during the fight, and they were a little excited all of a sudden. They wanted to solve this trouble directly here. Until now, when they saw Lu Xing coming, the two of them woke up and took the initiative to retreat. When they returned, Duanliu Mountain had been jointly attacked by the monks of the Wang and Song families below. Except for 4 or 5 monks with higher cultivation from the Gao and Lu families who escaped desperately, the rest died here. In this battle, because the Wang and Song families had been prepared and joined forces to outnumber the enemy by several times, there were not many losses after the war, and only a few monks were slightly injured. After killing the Gao family monks who had occupied their own territory, the Wang family, who had been suppressed for several months, cheered for a while and immediately began to take over the Broken Flow Mountain mine. Because the Gao family had also been mining here during this period, they had always maintained the original mine very well and did not embarrass the Wang family mortals who had been mining here. Everything in the Broken Flow Mountain copper mine was well preserved, and it would not be long before it could operate normally again. After taking over the Broken Flow Mountain mine, Song Qingming also deliberately left his ninth uncle Song Changsen with 8 monks to help the Wang family guard the mine. Broken Flow Mountain is located at the junction of the Wang family and the Lu family. If they want to have a piece of territory here, it means that the Song family must stand up and share this pressure with the Wang family. Wang Shengaiyu gave 40% of the shares of Broken Flow Mountain to the Song family for this purpose, to pull the Song family to share some of the pressure on the front line. Song Qingming had already figured this out when he decided to get involved. This time, they and the Wang family attacked together, which hurt the Gao family. The Song family was now firmly tied to the Wang family's chariot, and it was impossible to withdraw for the time being. After discussing with Wang Shengaiyu about the joint development of Duanliu Mountain, Song Qingming directly returned to Funiu Mountain with the remaining Song family cultivators. Next, Song Qingming did not choose to go to King Hefang to see Gao Jin again, but also wrote him a letter, directly rejecting the Gao family's desire to exchange shops with the Song family. Now that he knew the situation on the Wang family's side, Song Qingming naturally would not worry about the Gao family daring to continue to attack the Song family. After the Battle of Duanliu Mountain, the Wang family and the Song family were completely tied together. If the Gao family wanted to attack the Song family, the Wang family would naturally not sit idly by. For these immortal cultivation families, if they want to seize more cultivation resources, they still have to look at their strength. When Song Qingming disappeared, the Song family suddenly lost the protection of the foundation building cultivators, and naturally lost the qualification to occupy more resources. Even if the Gao family didn't plan to attack them, other foundation building families would also attack them later. This is the iron rule of the world of immortal cultivation. All resources are in the hands of high-level cultivators. After the letter was sent to King Hefang, Gao Jin did not reply, nor did he respond by sending cultivators to Funiu. It was as if the original incident had never happened. The Gao family and the Song family had no intersection anymore. After the Wang family took back Duanliu Mountain, Qing County once again caused an uproar. Overnight, the Wang family restored most of its former reputation, stabilized the morale of many affiliated Immortal cultivation families, and broke the rumors that the head of the Wang family had died in the past few months. However, in addition to regaining Funiu Mountain, the Wang family did not continue to attack. The Gao family and the Lu family also returned to the calm of a few months ago and did not make any moves. Neither side took any action, which made Qing County seem to have suddenly fallen into a strange calm. In this finally restored peace, less than 2 months later, Qingming, who was in seclusion for cultivation, unexpectedly received news from Yuzhou town at the foot of the mountain that his mother was seriously ill. Since building his foundation, Qingming has rarely returned to his home at the foot of the mountain, but his mother is still a worldly bond that he cannot give up. Song's mother is already over 70 years old, which is a rare old age in the secular world. This time, the sudden news of her being seriously ill made Qingming know that the old lady should not have much time left. After putting away the idea of cultivation, Qingming went directly to Yuzhou town. In recent years, the Song family has developed rapidly, and the continuous development of existing mortal villages and towns has also increased the number of mortals in the family. Before Qingming went down the mountain, the entire Song family had only 20,000 mortals, but now it is almost doubled. As soon as he arrived at Yuzhou town, Qingming saw his fifth brother Qingyuan, who had been waiting here for a long time. "Greetings, Grand Elder," Qingming nodded and said, "No need to be polite since fifth brother is here. Go and do your thing first. I'll come to you if I need anything." The cultivators of the Qing generation, who are older than Qingming, basically have little room for improvement in their Taoism. Most of them have started families and are working in easier positions outside. The eldest brother Qingshi, the fourth brother Qingru, and the sixth brother Qing have all started families in recent years. The fourth brother, who got married the earliest, now has a lot of children. Half a year ago, he was found to have a child with spiritual roots, which made him very happy. He had already stopped paying attention to cultivation, but now he is concentrating on paving the way for his children's future. For these people, the Taoism is hopeless in this life. They can enjoy the rest of their lives, add a few more children with spiritual roots to the family, and place their hopes on the next generation. It is also a matter of killing two birds with one stone. As soon as he walked into the house, Qingming saw the fourth brother and his wife sitting in the hall. They are all over 50 years old. Although they have lived a life of wealth and honor without suffering, they are now beginning to stagger. Seeing Qingming come in, the fourth brother was so excited that he almost fell to the ground. Fortunately, the eldest nephew Yunshan, who is already in charge of the family, supported his father in time, and several people led Qingming to the backyard. Seeing his mother, who was already bedridden and had become much thinner, Qingming couldn't help but shed a few tears. Mother couldn't eat half a month ago and could only take some soup. A few days ago, she called your name a few times and fell asleep all of a sudden. She hasn't woken up for several days, so I couldn't ask someone to go up the mountain to inform you. The second sister who was taking care of her by the bed was already white-haired. Her eyes were red when she spoke at this moment. I think she had cried a lot in the past few days. Second sister, I have a magic pill here that should be able to wake up mother. You can take care of her and let her take it first. After Qingming finished speaking, he left a pill beside the bed, turned around and walked out dejectedly. Chapter 194, Final Light. The sun was setting, and only a streak of setting sun was left in the sky. Qingming stood in the backyard of the Song family, staring blankly at the gradually darkening sky. Third uncle, wake up, grandma is awake. Not far away, Yunshan came over with a happy face and shouted to him loudly. Qingming turned around and nodded with a smile, then followed Yunshan back to Song's mother's room. As soon as he entered the room, Qingming saw Song's mother on the bed. At this moment, she had not only woken up, but also sat up, half leaning on the cushion. Her face changed from the previous pale color to become very ruddy. Mother, you haven't eaten water or rice for several days, so you should eat more. I said I'm not hungry, take it down, it's a waste to leave it here. Song's mother waved at the rice porridge handed over by her daughter-in-law. Although her voice was not loud, her words were still very clear. Qingming walked up to his sister-in-law and said with a smile, after taking the elixir, some spiritual power will gather in your body. It doesn't matter if you don't eat for a few days. Seeing Qingming, Song's mother complained to him again, "Saner, you have such a useful elixir, why didn't you give some to your father? At least let him leave us a few words before leaving." Song Qingming smiled bitterly and shook his head. "Mother, you have wronged me. I didn't have this kind of elixir on me at that time. I got it when I was doing business in the market a few years ago." Song's mother sighed, waved her hand, and asked Song Qingming to sit at the head of the bed, closer to her. "Saner, your mother is really sick this time. She even hopes that you will come back. How long have you been away from home? Last time you came back, you lied to me that you were married. Until now, I haven't even seen your shadow." Song Qingming said softly, "It's my fault. Mother, don't be angry. I will send her a message later to see if she has time to come and see you in the next few days." "Are you serious?" Song's mother grabbed Song Qingming's sleeve, and her eyes also sparkled. The second sister and the fourth brother and others beside him also looked at Song Qingming in surprise. When they heard the news last time, they all thought that Song Qingming said this to comfort his elderly mother, but they didn't expect that what he said was actually true. Song Qingming smiled and nodded, and then in front of everyone, he took out a voice transmission and cast a spell to send it out in their surprised eyes. The next morning, a servant of the Song family who was standing at the door sweeping the floor suddenly saw two beautifully dressed young women appear outside the Song family's gate. The servant saw that the two people were somewhat unfamiliar and was about to go forward to ask, but he didn't expect a figure to suddenly appear beside him out of nowhere, which scared him. He looked up and realized that it was the third master of the mansion. Seeing the third master walking towards the door, as if he knew the two people outside, he quickly stepped aside. "Qingming, why did you come back when you were not practicing in the market?" In the past few months, after Song Qingming came back, the situation in Qing County has stabilized a lot. The second sister Song Qingwen and others also returned to Qinghefang and reopened their shops. Song Qingming also mixed in Qinghefang and stayed with Wang Xian all day again. "I don't know the way, so I asked Qingming to help me get here." Before Song Qingming could explain, Wang Xian took the initiative to help her out. "Go back to the mountain first, don't waste your practice." "Got it, sister-in-law Qi. If you're bored, remember to find me on the mountain." Seeing Song Qingming's serious face, Song Qingming didn't dare to stay any longer, and could only whisper to Wang Xian, then turned around and returned to Funiu Mountain. "Everyone in there is my family, there aren't so many rules in secular places, just be casual." Seeing that Song Qingming had gone far away, Song Qingming stepped forward and brought Wang Xian into the mansion. In the backyard of the Song family, Song's mother was sitting on a rattan chair in the yard, and the second sister and the fourth brother and their wives were also standing aside. Looking at Wang Xian, who was full of fairy spirit in front of them, everyone was suddenly filled with joy, holding Wang Xian's little hand and whispering, "Girl, what's your name?" Taiyuan Mountain Wang family. Wang Xian's parents were both cultivators, and she grew up in Taiyuan Mountain since she was a child. She didn't have much contact with mortals. Seeing Song's mother and others so enthusiastic, she was actually a little panicked. The family chatted endlessly with Wang Xian in the yard. Even Song Qingming, who was standing aside, did not get a word in. He could only walk aside helplessly and waved his hand to call his eldest nephew Song Yunshan over. "Your grandmother doesn't have much time left, the mansion needs to make some preparations early. Your parents and aunt are all old, so don't alarm them in advance. You can do it slowly and secretly. If you need my help, just come to me." After hearing this, Song Yunshan looked puzzled and said, "Third uncle, after grandma took your elixir, her body is much better now than before. How could she not have much time left?" Song Qingming sighed, looked at him and said softly, "That is not a life-saving elixir. It can only help the old man recover some vitality in a short period of time. The effect of the medicine can only last for a dozen days at most. Don't think too much about it. If there's any way, why wouldn't I try it? It's just that people are born, grow old, get sick and die throughout their lives. This is something that even the ancient immortals find it difficult to change. How can I have such a great ability now?" "Third uncle, Yunshan knows about this, don't worry." After a moment, Song Yunshan gently wiped away his tears, looked up at Song Qingming and nodded heavily. Looking at Song Yunshan, who was already very sensible, Song Qingming stepped forward and patted him on the shoulder gently and said, "It's a pity that your uncle is no longer here, otherwise I could ask him to help you. You are more stable than your father. I can feel more at ease with you in this family in the future." After explaining to Song Yunshan, Song Qingming saw that it was getting dark, so he went to the yard to remind the people who were still busy and sent them back to their respective places. After sending Song's mother back to the house, Song Qingming took Wang Xian back to the small house where he had lived for many years. Although Song Qingming's small house was not very big, it was not too crowded for the two of them. People who practiced cultivation could just play around. After closing the door, Wang Xian sat upright on the wooden chair in the room, looked at Song Qingming and said puzzledly, "Your mother's complexion doesn't look right. She looks like she is in her last moments. Doesn't the old lady have much time left?" Song Qingming nodded calmly and said, "Yes, that's true. She's relying on a pill to keep her alive. She should only have a dozen days left. Those of us who practice Taoism cannot escape birth, old age, sickness and death, let alone ordinary mortals." Wang Xian lowered her head and fell into silence. After a long while, she continued, "You have already established your foundation and have another 200 years of life. You shouldn't have to worry about this problem for the time being, right? Living for another 200 years seems to be a good deal for ordinary cultivators like us, but it's hard to walk the path of cultivation safely. I have survived several life and death hardships to get to where I am today. It shouldn't be as easy as you think." Chapter 195 Passing. Wang Xian and King Hefang, in addition to practicing every day, also has to run the business of Xian Fanglao and feed Xian Huipeng for Song Qingming, so she basically has no free time. After arriving at the Song family for a few days, Wang Xian suddenly became free. Except for occasionally going out to chat with Song's mother, she basically stayed in Song Qingming's hut and asked Song Qingming about some matters of practice. Wang Xian's spiritual root talent is not bad. She has practiced to the late stage of Qi refining at the age of 30. In Song Qingming's eyes, if she practices normally, she will have the opportunity to build a foundation in the future. Now, among the adult cultivators in the entire Song family, except Song Qingyu, no one has a higher probability of building a foundation than her. In the past few years, Song Qingming has taken good care of her and has given her many opportunities to earn spirit stones, which can be regarded as indirect support for her. As for whether she can successfully build a foundation in the future, Song Qingming has not thought too much about it for the time being. Everything depends on her personal luck. More than 10 days passed. Song Qingming and Wang Xian stayed in the Song mansion. Apart from daily meditation and cultivation, they seemed to have become a pair of ordinary people, living a leisurely and peaceful life. Before Wang Xian came from King Hefang, she was thoughtful and bought a lot of useful spiritual medicine supplements in the market, and gave a copy to everyone in the Song family. This immediately improved her status in everyone's heart. Except for Song Yunshan, who was temporarily the housekeeper, the whole family of the Song family had a rare and relaxing reunion. The whole Song mansion was full of laughter and joy these days. Song Qingming felt as if he had returned to the time when his father was still alive and the family was lively. But the good times didn't last long. Early in the morning of this day, Song Qingming and Wang Xian, who had just left the house, were called over by their second sister who came anxiously. As soon as he entered the room, Song Qingming saw that Song's mother, who was lying on the bed, had a grayish face. She had lost her yesterday's radiance, and he couldn't help but sigh. "Saner, am I going to see your father?" Song's mother had become very weak, and she couldn't even speak coherently. Song Qingming didn't say anything, but stepped forward and grabbed Song's mother's thin palm, and gently passed a trace of his spiritual energy to her, which made her feel a little better. After Song's mother's face got a little better, she looked at her second sister and fourth brother, stretched out her hand again, pointed to a small box beside the bed, and said to Song Qingming, "There are things I left for you three here, you can open it and see it yourself in a few days. I have been thinking about this day for a long time, and it is a blessing to be able to leave peacefully. Saner, I'm a little sleepy, let me sleep for a while." After saying this, Song's mother slowly put down her hand, smiled at Song Qingming again, and slowly closed her eyes. Song Qingming nodded gently and slowly took back the hand that was holding Song's mother. In a beautiful dream, Song's mother left this world. A few days later, on a low hill on the side of Mujiao town, Song Qingming and the Song family buried his mother in the location that Song Yunshan had chosen long ago. Song's mother has always been kind-hearted. Many of the neighbors nearby have been taken care of by her. There are more people who came to see her off than when his father was buried. After the funeral of his mother, most of the people had left. Song Qingming and Wang Xian found a place on the top of the mountain and sat down. The scenery on the top of the hill is still very good. Sitting here, you can easily see the whole Mujiao town. It can be seen that Song Yunshan, the eldest nephew, is really thoughtful to find such a good feng shui location for Song's mother. There are no rare items in the iron box left by Song's mother, but only a letter with some words of advice to the younger generations. The words left for Song Qingming were similar, just asking him to pay more attention to safety when he was outside and to go home often when he had time. After so many years, it was indeed a rare warmth for Song Qingming to have a mother at home who was always worried about him. Now that his mother had passed away, it was considered to have cut off a big part of Song Qingming's ties in the secular world. In the future, probably no one would think of him as much as his mother did. The breeze blew slowly, blowing his long hair behind him to his chest. Song Qingming was still in deep thought and did not feel uncomfortable. Wang Xian, who was standing aside, looked at Song Qingming's somewhat empty eyes, and deeply felt the pain of him losing his beloved relatives at this moment. She herself had lost her loving mother since she was a child. She had been working hard alone in Qinghefeng all these years. Like Song Qingming now, she had long experienced the loneliness of losing her loved ones. The two of them sat on the mountain from the afternoon until dusk. As the red sun set in the sky gradually dimmed, Song Qingming stood up and slowly said to Wang Xian, "Let's go back." Wang Xian nodded without saying anything. She thought Song Qingming was going to take her back to the Song family, but Song Qingming did not go back, but took her directly back to Funiu Mountain. In the past few years since she became a Taoist couple with Song Qingming, Wang Xian has been living in Qinghefeng and has never been to the Song family's Funiu Mountain. This is the first time she has truly entered the Song family's home. In the past few years in Qinghefeng, Wang Xian has long been very familiar with some of the Song family's cultivators. After going up the mountain, she met Song Xinhu and others who she knew, and smiled and took the initiative to greet them. "I've been out for so long, I'm a little worried about Xianfang Tower. When do you plan to let me go back to Qinghefeng?" Wang Xian hesitated for a moment and took the initiative to ask after just entering Song Qingming's cave. Song Qingming turned around and said calmly, "It's getting late today. It's not safe for you to travel alone. Rest on the mountain for one night. I'll let Qingyu accompany you back to Qinghefeng tomorrow." Wang Xian nodded, found a more comfortable place in the cave, and began to meditate and practice. After Song Qingming brought her to his cave, he told her something, then left his cave and came to the residence of his sixth uncle Song Changfang behind the mountain. "Qingming, didn't you go home these days? Have you finished your business?" Seeing Song Qingming suddenly appear here, Song Changfang was also surprised. Song Qingming nodded and said calmly, "I have been practicing Taoism for decades, but I still can't escape the trivialities of the secular world. My Tao heart is indeed a little behind yours. Most of us are the same. How many of us are not from the secular world? It's because you have experienced a lot of things, so you get used to them naturally." "Sixth uncle, I heard from my eldest brother a few days ago that you have decided to go into seclusion to build your foundation. Why haven't I heard you mention this before?" Song Qingming didn't continue talking about this matter after hearing this, but changed the subject to Song Changfen. Everyone should rest early. Chapter 196, Selling Elixirs. Hearing this, Song Changfang smiled and said, "I know everything you said. You are not the first one to persuade me. It's just that I have prepared for this for a long time and have made up my mind long ago. I will not change my mind easily now. Qingming, I know that I have missed the best time to build my foundation, and the hope of success is very slim, but for us cultivators seeking the Tao, it is impossible for everything to be so smooth. Most of the time, we need to take risks and go against the will of heaven before we can find our own way. Don't you think so?" Song Qingming paused for a moment after listening, and said slowly, "Sixth uncle, I have built my foundation before, and I know the hardships here. Even those talented cultivators in the Xiaoyao sect, only a few dozen people can successfully build their foundation every time they use the foundation building pill. If you must force the foundation to be built this time, I think it's better to wait a few more days. I just want to go to Yangshanfang, and I can see if I can find an elixir to assist in building the foundation for you, so that I can be more confident." Although Song Changfang had already cultivated to the 9th level of Qi Refining, he was now over 80 years old and had missed the best age for building a foundation. To be honest, Song Qingming, like most of the Song family cultivators, admired him for his courage to pass this level, but he also knew that the probability of Song Changfeng's success in building a foundation was probably less than 10%. The best age for a Qi refining cultivator to build a foundation was generally before the age of 60, when the blood and essence in the cultivator's body had not yet begun to decay, and it would be more certain to pass the level of body refining. Song Qingming had already experienced this when he was building his foundation, and he naturally understood it in his heart. Seeing the firm look in his sixth uncle's eyes, Song Qingming knew that all he could do now was to try his best to do what he could. Although it was impossible for him to get a spiritual object like the foundation building pill casually now, Song Qingming was still somewhat confident that he could get a spiritual pill like the marrow cleansing pill. Song Changfeng nodded and said, "Last year, when I went to Jianglingfang, I happened to have some opportunities and bought a Qingyu pill. This made me start to think about building a foundation. Pills that can assist in building a foundation are generally difficult to find on the market. I'm afraid that if you go there with intention, you may go there in vain. It doesn't matter. I just want to go to Yangshanfang. I happen to know a few medicine shops there and I'm familiar with them. The possibility of finding this kind of pill is still very high. To be honest, the auxiliary elixir I needed to build my foundation in Xiaoyao sect was also found in Yangshanfang." Seeing that Song Qingming insisted on going to Yangshanfang, Song Changfeng did not continue to refuse. He nodded and agreed to this matter. After all, it was a matter related to his personal path. He would not refuse if he could have a little more confidence. The next day, Song Qingming first sent Wang Xian and Song Qingyu back to Qinghofang, and then he went south alone on a flying sword and headed straight for Yangshanfang. In fact, the main reason why he wanted to go to Yangshanfang this time was to see if he could sell the second-level spiritual medicines he brought out from the secret realm. In the secret realm, Song Qingming brought out a total of more than a dozen spiritual medicines. After Ho Feng and the others took away some of them, there were still 8 second-level spiritual medicines left. Among them, the 2 most valuable third-level spiritual medicines, none of them were left for him. In recent months, every time Song Qingming thought of this, he was still a little indignant. He only hated that his cultivation was too low and he really had no right to bargain in front of Ho Feng and the others. A few days later, in the Xiandan pavilion of Yangshanfang, the old man in green who had received Song Qingming at the beginning looked at Song Qingming, who had become a foundation-building cultivator in front of him, and was also surprised. He didn't expect that the little Qi refining cultivator who was trembling in front of him at the beginning, after not seeing him for a few years, has now become a foundation-building cultivator like him. "I am Deng Zhongkuo. May I ask your name, fellow Taoist?" "My name is Song Qingming, a cultivator from Jiangling County. I was advised by Senior Deng in the past." Deng Zhongkuo waved his hand and said, "Fellow Taoist Song, you are too polite. I never thought of giving you any advice at the beginning. To put it bluntly, I just did a business deal with you. I don't know if you need any elixirs when you come to my Xiandan pavilion this time. Let's not talk about that for now. The main reason I came here this time is to sell a few second-level spiritual medicines. I wonder if your store is interested in purchasing them now." Song Qingming took a sip of the spiritual tea provided free of charge by Xiandan Pavilion, and spoke slowly. "Second-level spiritual medicines, of course we need them here. Don't worry, just give me as much as you have. My Xiandan Pavilion will never let you down on the price." Upon hearing the news about the second-level spiritual medicine from Song Qingming, Deng Zhongkuo, who had just had a calm face, suddenly stood up excitedly, staring at Song Qingming, fearing that what he had just said was not true. Song Qingming smiled and rummaged through the storage bag, and soon took out 3 brown brocade boxes and placed them in front of Deng Zhongkuo. "Heavenly Ganoderma lucidum, fantasy fairy grass, ironwood flower." Brother Song is really lucky to be able to find so many rare second-level spiritual medicines. Looking at the 3 spiritual medicines shining in front of him, Deng Zhongkuo couldn't hide the joy on his face, and hurriedly stepped forward to pick up the spiritual medicine and observe it carefully. After a while, Deng Zhongkuo put down the spiritual medicine and turned to Song Qingming and said, "These 3 spiritual medicines can be converted into 1,000 spiritual stones in total. Are you satisfied with this price, Brother Song? Among these 3 spiritual herbs, 2 are second-level medium-grade spiritual herbs." Song Qingming had inquired about it before he came. The 3 spiritual herbs together should be able to be exchanged for at least 800 spiritual stones. He had some idea of this in his mind. Hearing that the price quoted by Deng Zhongkuo was slightly higher than his own estimate, Song Qingming remained calm. After pretending to think for a moment, he nodded and agreed to the price quoted by Deng Zhongkuo. Fellow Taoist, do you want to exchange for spiritual stones directly, or take a look at other spiritual pills in the store first? Here today, I can directly decide and give you some appropriate discounts on all the pills. Hearing this, Song Qingming hurriedly bowed and said, I don't know if your store has stock of the marrow cleansing pill now. I need to buy another one this time. Deng Zhongkuo smiled after hearing this and said, Dao, you came back at the right time. I just refined a furnace by myself half a month ago, so there should be some stock. I will have someone get it for you. Dao, take a look and see if you need any other elixirs. The elixirs in my Xiandan pavilion are very popular in the market. There are also several elixirs that can increase the cultivation speed of foundation building cultivators. Dao, would you like to take a look? Song Qingming came to Xiandan pavilion with the intention of purchasing some elixirs. After Deng Zhongkuo took the initiative to introduce them and select them, Song Qingming spent another 500 or 600 spirit stones before he walked out of Xiandan pavilion. This time, he was lucky. Not only did he sell 3 second-level elixirs, but he also got the Zisu pill smoothly. Walking on the street, Song Qingming's mood suddenly became much better. The reason why he only took out 3 second-level elixirs was mainly because he was afraid that he would take out too many at once and arouse the suspicion of those who were interested. He planned to sell the rest to other pharmacies. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 197, The Patriarch's Retreat. Before leaving Xiandan Pavilion, Song Qingming specifically asked when the Xiandan League auction would be held again, wanting to see if he could have the chance to sell some of the remaining 1,000-year spiritual milk in his hands at the Xiandan League auction. Unfortunately, Deng Zhongkuo told him that the Xiandan League auction was generally held once a year, and it happened to have just been held a few months ago. If Song Qingming wanted to participate, he could only wait until next year to see. Song Qingming dared not sell the 1,000-year spiritual milk, which was a very valuable spiritual object, in the market. Once someone targeted it, I'm afraid those Xiandan ancestors would be tempted. Now he wanted to deal with it inconspicuously, and he could only hope that the Xiandan League auction, a place that paid attention to protecting the information of customers, would be the only place. Fortunately, after selling this batch of spiritual medicines, he was not so anxious to use the spiritual stones at present. As long as he could sell them safely, waiting for a while would not have any impact on him. Next, Song Qingming went to several pharmacies again, and finally sold all the remaining spiritual medicines in his hands, and exchanged them for nearly 2,000 spiritual stones. Seeing that there were more and more spiritual stones in the storage bag on his waist, Song Qingming was satisfied and slowly walked towards the gate of the market, ready to return to Qing County. The foundation building cultivator flew on the sword, and came and went quickly. It took Song Qingming less than 10 days to return from Yangshanfang. After handing the marrow cleansing pill to Song Changfeng, Song Qingming spent some time to compile some of his foundation building experiences and those told to him by Su Ziyan into a foundation building experience book, which he handed to his sixth uncle Song Changfeng, hoping that it would be of some help to him. Although there were already 2 auxiliary foundation building spiritual pills, Song Qingming knew very well in his heart that as long as there was no foundation building pill, it would be very dangerous for a cultivator to force the foundation. In the 200 years of the Song family's history, in addition to Song Changfeng, there was another elder of the Song family who had taken this step 100 years ago. This elder of the Song family also prepared an auxiliary spiritual pill at that time, but unfortunately he failed in the end. A few months later, he failed to build his foundation and sat in his cave directly, without even leaving a last word. At that time, the power of the Song family was much weaker than it is now. The sudden loss of a strong man at the peak of Qi Refining also hit the entire Song family hard for a time, attracting many scattered cultivators from the surrounding area to spy on the spiritual land of Funiu Mountain. Fortunately, the entire Song family united as one and repelled several attempts by scattered cultivators. They overcame the difficulties and did not lose the ancestral land of Funiu Mountain. Otherwise, The Song family of Funiu might have disappeared in the long history of Qing County. For more than 100 years since then, no cultivator of the Song family who later cultivated to the 9th level of Qi Refining dared to force the foundation. First, the risk of forcibly building the foundation without the foundation pale is too great. If it is not done well, it will be immediate death. This is a choice that does not leave a way out for oneself. To dare to take this step requires the cultivator to be determined to die. Secondly, every cultivator of the Song family who can cultivate to the 9th level of Qi Refining and have the opportunity to build a foundation is very important to the entire family. Once such a pillar is easily lost, the Song family is very likely to suffer a catastrophe, which also adds a little more concern when they make such a decision. As the patriarch of the Song family, Song Changfang made this decision now, partly because Song Qingming's foundation building greatly reduced his concerns in this regard. As long as Song Qingming, the foundation building ancestor, does not fall, even if the Song family loses a patriarch like him who is at the 9th level of Qi Refining, the impact on the entire family will not be too great. Since Song Qingming built his foundation, all the cultivators of the Song family have been greatly encouraged. In the past few years, not only the 6th uncle Song Changfang has taken this step, but also several people in the Song family who have reached the 9th level of Qi Refining and are qualified to build a foundation, including the 9th uncle Song Changxin and the 2nd sister Song Qingwen, have more or less had some ideas of forcibly building a foundation. After all, outsiders may not know, but they are very clear that Song Qingming's qualifications in the Song family were also very ordinary. He, a person with 4 spiritual roots, was able to successfully build a foundation, which greatly reduced the Song family's estimate of the difficulty of building a foundation. They don't know that when Song Qingming built his foundation, he not only had auxiliary spiritual pills such as the marrow cleansing pill, but also used 2 foundation building pills to succeed in the end. The clan members underestimated the difficulty of building a foundation. In fact, Song Qingming began to have some concerns in his heart. Even though the news that his third brother Song King's failed to build a foundation had spread to Funiu, everyone's views on this point did not change much. However, for this reason, in recent years, the Song family's cultivators have generally practiced harder than before, and several late-stage Qi refining cultivators have been added. Song Qingming is still very pleased about this. After the clan leader Song Changfang retreated to build a foundation, all the affairs of the clan fell on Song Qingming's head, which made him a little busy in Funiu all of a sudden, and he didn't even have time to go to Qinghofang. After just over a month of busy work, Funiu welcomed another unexpected guest, which made Song Qingming, who had already started to have a headache, smile. This person was Shi Chun, his old acquaintance in Guianfang. After learning about Shi Chun's arrival, Song Qingming, who happened to be drawing a talisman in the cave, heard the news and happily threw the unfinished talisman in his hand aside, and hurried to the mountain to greet him. Seeing Song Qingming, the senior foundation building cultivator, personally come out of the mountain to greet him, Shi Chun, who came to seek refuge, was also very surprised. After all, he was just an ordinary late-stage Qi refining cultivator, and he didn't have any powerful immortal cultivation skills, but he didn't expect Song Qingming to value him so much. In the world of immortal cultivation, all kinds of cultivators have strict levels. It is rare to see someone who can still care about an ordinary Qi refining friend after building a foundation. On that day in the Funiu Mountains, Song Qingming was able to put down his status and take the initiative to come to help. To be honest, this was already a rare thing in Shi Chun's eyes. This is also the biggest reason why he finally made up his mind to come to Song Qingming in the past few months. In general, the Qi refining immortal cultivation families are too weak and can only trust their own bloodline. They will not actively recruit outside cultivators to join the family, so as to avoid being overwhelmed by outside cultivators, or causing trouble for no reason. Only when the foundation building families become powerful will they actively absorb some outside cultivators with some skills to serve as guest officials in the family and help manage the family industry. After Song Qingming established his foundation, the Song family also recruited several independent cultivators with clean backgrounds like Li Quan in the market to help manage several shops in Qinghofang. Before this, the Song family had just become a foundation building family, and there were not many industries under their name. Their own cultivators could still handle it. Since they started to operate the Duanliu Mountain Jingtong mine with the Wang family, The Song family sent many cultivators to help garrison there. The Funiu Mountainside suddenly became much emptier. Qi Chun's arrival was indeed at the right time. Chapter 198, Success or Failure. A month ago, after Uncle Nine Song Changxin went to Funiu Mountain, the affairs of the family's golden pavilion could only be handed over to 5th and Song Changling to help manage. After Qi Chun came, Song Qingming quickly convened a family meeting and asked him to serve as the family's guest elder to assist Song Changling in managing the affairs of the golden pavilion in Funiu. Because of the matter of upgrading the spiritual veins, the spiritual stones and more valuable spiritual objects in the family's golden pavilion had long been emptied, and the Song family also owed many monks in the Song family a lot of merits. Now, every spiritual stone that has just been received is basically just a matter of passing the account in the golden pavilion, and will be immediately exchanged for merits. It will take at least a few years for the golden pavilion to slowly recover. Uncle Nine Song Changxin was originally a hard-working monk who loved to practice, and he had never paid much attention to the management of the golden pavilion. In addition, after he left, 5th Ant was a little too busy to manage this area, and the accounts of the golden pavilion have been a little messy in the past few months, which also gave Song Qingming, who took over the management of the family affairs, a headache. Fortunately, after Qi Chun took over the matter, it took him less than a month to sort out the messy accounts. Every account of the family's income and expenditure, and the merits exchanged by the monks are now available for inspection. Song Qingming has always been very impressed with Qi Chun's personal ability. When he first met him in the floating cloud mountains, Song Qingming had already seen this, which was also the main reason why he took the initiative to invite Qi Chun to the Song family. With Qi Chun's not particularly outstanding cultivation, he can lead the demon hunting team deep into the dangerous floating cloud mountains all year round. This fully proves his command and management ability. This alone is enough to make Song Qingming look at him with new eyes. After wandering for half his life, Qi Chun finally had a fixed spiritual vein to practice after coming to the Song family. He no longer had to fight monsters for a little spiritual stone needed for practice. He was also very grateful to Song Qingming in his heart. As long as it was something Song Qingming ordered, he would basically do his best to do it. During this period, he took the initiative to give Song Qingming a lot of suggestions on how to better manage the Tibetan Gold Pavilion. For Qi Chun, he knew that his hope of building a foundation in this life was not high. It would be good for him to have a quiet place to shelter from the wind and rain and concentrate on practicing. The current Song family just happened to satisfy him, which was also a win-win situation for both parties. Moreover, he had agreed with Song Qingming before joining that if he was really unhappy in the Song family in the future, he could leave the Song family at any time as long as he got Song Qingming's consent and handed over the affairs in advance. Since the Battle of Funiu Mountain, the several major foundation-building families in Qing County have temporarily restored peace, and King Hefang has also returned to its lively state a year ago, and the entire Song family has also slowly entered development. One day, Song Qingming was discussing the matter of the Treasury Pavilion with Qi Chun in the family meeting room. Song Xinhu, who had joined the family law enforcement team, suddenly ran in a hurry. Grand Elder, it's not good. As soon as he entered the room, he saw Qi Chun was also here. Song Xinhu, who had just opened his mouth, stopped talking and held back his words. Song Qingming saw it and hurriedly said in a stern voice, Elder Qi, you are already a guest elder of the family. As long as it is a family matter, you can speak directly. After listening, Song Xinhu nodded awkwardly and continued to say, Grand Elder, the clan leader has come out of retreat. Uncle 13 asked me to call you to go over and take a look. Has he come out of retreat? When did this happen? How is Uncle 6? Is he still in the cave? Upon hearing the news that Song Changfang had come out of retreat, Song Qingming's face instantly became a little nervous, and he quickly opened his mouth and asked several more questions. Song Xinhu shook his head and said, I don't know the specific situation yet. When I went to check early in the morning, I found that the restrictions in the 6th uncle's cave were suddenly looser than yesterday. I quickly notified the 13th uncle about this. Just now, the 13th uncle and the 5th aunt forced the restrictions to open and enter. Only then did they find that the 6th uncle had fainted inside and was bleeding a lot. That's why I hurried over to call you. After hearing this, Song Qingming immediately took Qi Chun and others and hurried to Song Changfang's cave in the back mountain. As soon as he walked in, Song Qingming saw the 13th uncle Song Changsheng and the 5th aunt Song Changling, who were frowning and checking Song Changfeng, who was still unconscious on the bed. At this moment, although most of the blood on Song Changfeng's body had been wiped clean, it was still easy to see from his pale face that this must have been caused by his excessive blood loss. Seeing Song Qingming coming in, Song Changling stood up with a heavy heart and said, "I have checked it. 2 meridians in Changfeng's body are seriously damaged. I am afraid it will take more than 10 years to slowly recover." Fortunately, his cultivation foundation is relatively solid. Although he failed to break through this time, his life is still safe. I have helped him take the cooking pill. It is estimated that he should wake up in 2 days. I think Xinhu will have to work hard for the next 2 days. Stay here and take care of the clan leader, Song Xinhu, who has always been obedient in front of several elders, smiled and nodded to agree to this matter. After he went up the mountain, because of the relationship with the great elder, many cultivators in the clan, including Song Qingming, took good care of him. If there is a chance to repay these elders, he will naturally not refuse. Hearing that Song Changfeng was not worried about his life, Song Qingming finally put his mind at ease. To be honest, since Song Changfeng went into seclusion, he has been worried about this matter in his heart these days. Now that the dust has settled, he finally breathed a sigh of relief after knowing the specific situation. Without the foundation building pill, only a small number of people can survive after the foundation building fails. As long as people are still alive, it is already a good result for them. 3 days later, Song Changfeng, who had been in a coma for several days, finally woke up safely. After hearing the news, everyone in the Song family went to his cave to visit the patriarch who dared to risk his life to build the foundation. Song Qingming also came to his cave early in the morning. Seeing Song Changfeng, who was still a little weak lying on the sickbed, talking and laughing with several fellow cultivators of the same generation, talking about the dangerous process of his foundation building, Song Qingming did not interrupt them after hearing it, but sat aside and listened carefully with a smile. Before coming, he thought that this failure would be a big blow to Song Changfeng, and he was still thinking about how to comfort him. Unexpectedly, the sixth uncle who took over the position of patriarch for less than 10 years had already faced his failure calmly and strode out of the haze of failure. "Sixth uncle, I think you should write a detailed foundation building experience together with a real experience of this foundation building, together with the experience I sorted out before." Hearing Song Qingming's suggestion, Song Changfeng nodded and said, "Qingming, I just happened to have this idea. Now I just need a long time to recuperate. I am afraid that I will not be able to go down the mountain to work for the family. I can use this time to write a foundation building book of our Song family for future generations to learn from. I failed in my foundation building this time, and the experience was indeed very dangerous. It can be said that I walked through the gates of hell. If I don't write about the severity of this matter, there will definitely be clansmen who are as lucky as I was at the beginning and lose their lives here in vain in the future." Chapter 199 5 years. The news of the failure of the sixth uncle Song Changfeng's foundation building soon spread to every cultivator in the Song family, which immediately extinguished the idea of other cultivators in the Song family who also wanted to force the foundation building. The ninth uncle Song Changson, who had cultivated to the 9th level of Qi Refining for several years, and the second sister Song Qingwen, who had just broken through to the 9th level of Qi Refining not long ago, both of them were ready to build the foundation at any time. But like the clan leader Song Changfeng, they were also over 60 years old. After hearing about the thrilling failure of Song Changfeng's foundation building, they were also poured with a basin of cold water in their hearts, and gradually gave up the idea of forcing the foundation building. Among the remaining cultivators in the late stage of Qi Refining, the 5th aunt Song Changling and the 13th uncle Song Changshan, 2 cultivators in the 8th level of Qi Refining, were already over 60 years old. The eldest brother Song Qingshi, the 8th brother Song Qingyan, and the 15th aunt Song Changai all broke through to the 7th level of Qi Refining in the past few years. By the time they reached the 9th level of Qi Refining, they had also missed the best time to build a foundation. Without the foundation building pill, the chances of them being able to build a foundation were also very slim. Among all the late-stage Qi Refining cultivators in the entire Song family, the one with the best spiritual roots, Song Qingyu, has the best hope of being able to cultivate to the 9th level of Qi Refining before the age of 60. She is not even 40 years old yet, but she has already cultivated to the 8th level of Qi Refining. It is basically a foregone conclusion that she will cultivate to the 9th level of Qi Refining before the age of 50. Song Qingming is also the most suitable candidate for the Song family to build a foundation in the future. However, the biggest problem that Songs and I will face in building a foundation in the future is the foundation building pill. Even though the Song family has become a foundation building family now, it is not so easy to obtain a foundation building pill. After all, the Song family is a newly emerging foundation building family, and it does not have any connections within the Xiaoyao sect that can be used. This is still a bit behind other old foundation building families. In Qing County, the Wang family of Taiyuan Mountain has the most stable relationship with Xiaoyao sect. They have 3 foundation building cultivators in Xiaoyao sect, including Wang Changding, a late-stage foundation building cultivator who can speak for him. Almost every few decades, the Wang family has the opportunity to exchange a foundation building pill from Xiaoyao sect. The Gao family of Balian Mountain used to have only one foundation building cultivator of average strength in Xiaoyao sect, and his words were far less effective than Wang Chengding's. However, with the success of Gao Yuiao's foundation building in the past 10 years, the Gao family's status in Xiaoyao sect has gradually improved a lot, and they also took the opportunity to cultivate Gao Yubei, a young foundation building cultivator. In the long run, Gao Yuiao and Gao Yubei are both dual spiritual cultivators, and their future development prospects are still very good. Their family's subsequent development now seems to be better than that of the Wang family. In Qing County, there are also several key training families that have foundation building cultivators in Xiaoyao sect, but because the family's strength is too weak, these people have not been in contact with the Qing County family after the foundation building. After all, after the cultivators have established their foundation, they must still put their own path first. When the family is too weak to have much influence on them, this kind of connection will naturally fade slowly. After all, the family is thousands of miles away. After a long time, how can they be closer than the disciples and followers beside them? Only the foundation building families with matching strength can make better use of this relationship. After all, they can support each other and are of the same blood. Asking your family for help is always more reliable than others. No matter which cultivator you are, as long as you join the Xiaoyao sect, everything must be based on the interests of the sect first. Otherwise, once you do something that is dishonest, let other cultivators in the sect know and report it to the law enforcement hall. It is possible that you will end up with your cultivation abolished and expelled from the sect, and your family will also be implicated. Of course, as long as it does not affect the interests of the sect, and you take care of your own family appropriately within your own ability, most people will understand. Xiaoyao sect, for big things like the distribution of foundation building pills every year, in addition to the fixed amount to be used to train disciples with better qualifications, the remaining part of the foundation building pills are used to reward the meritorious immortal cultivation families under the sect. However, the right to distribute these foundation building pills is still in the hands of the giant and ancestors who control the power of the sect. Only after they have distributed the remaining ones will the rest be fought for by the foundation building cultivators of the lower sects. Larger immortal cultivation families like the Wang family, which have several foundation building cultivators in the sect, have the opportunity to win a foundation building pill for their family every few decades. The Song family now wants to exchange for foundation building pills, and it is definitely unrealistic to have the opportunity to encounter the important spiritual objects that Song Qingming sent back to Xiaoyao sect last time. The only way they can hope for is to find spiritual objects like the water spirit fruit that can be directly exchanged for foundation building pills, and go to Xiaoyao sect or places like the Xiandan League auction to try their luck. Spring goes and autumn comes, and 5 years of peaceful time have passed in the blink of an eye. In the cave on the top of Funiu Mountain, where the spiritual energy was dense, Song Qingming, who had been in seclusion for 2 months, suddenly felt a voice from someone outside the door. After collecting the spiritual consciousness that was radiating out of the body, Song Qingming walked out of the cave and saw a young boy of 17 or 18 standing respectfully beside him. Grand Elder, the clan leader asks you to go to the meeting room, saying that the Wang family has a guest. The young man who spoke was Song Zinayu, a cultivator of the new generation of the Song family. He was a genius of the 3 spiritual roots of the Song family and had cultivated to the 5th level of Qi Refining. After listening, Song Qingming nodded slightly and brought Song Zinayu to the meeting room in front of the mountain. Today, the distinguished guest is here. I am sorry for not welcoming you from afar. I hope that fellow Taoist Wang will forgive me." As soon as he entered the door, Song Qingming saw his old acquaintance Wang Shengaiyu and hurriedly stepped forward to bow. "Hey, congratulations to fellow Taoist Song. Your cultivation has improved again. You are young and promising, and you are almost ahead of me." Upon seeing the fluctuations of spiritual power emanating from Song Qingming, Wang Shengaiyu hurriedly opened her mouth to congratulate him. The injuries of the clan leader Song Changfeng have mostly recovered. Although he cannot fight with others easily, he can handle daily clan affairs after healing. As Song Changfeng's injuries slowly recovered, the burden on Song Qingming was gradually reduced. In the past few years, because of the injury of the clan leader, the management of the family's affairs, big and small, almost fell on his shoulders. Although his cultivation was slightly delayed, he successfully improved his cultivation to the 3rd level of foundation building after retreating a few months ago. Hearing Wang Shengaiyu's compliment, Song Qingming smiled and hurriedly replied, "Fellow Taoist Wang, please don't make fun of me. I was just lucky and just happened to break through with the help of the elixir. I really dare not compare myself with a senior like Wang who has a solid foundation." Song Changfeng, who was standing aside, saw Song Qingming coming and hurriedly stepped forward and said, "Senior Wang learned that we are going to send Zinayu to Xiaoao sect, so he came here to recommend a master for this child." Just before Song Qingming's retreat, the clan leader Song Changfeng had proposed to him to send a young cultivator with better qualifications in the family to join Xiaoao sect. After the two discussed it, they finally chose Song Zinayu, who was ranked 8th in the new generation. Song Zinayu's 3 spiritual roots were considered a genius in the Song family. Song Qingming was still a little reluctant to send him to Xiaoao sect, but to be honest, the reason why 6th uncle Song Changfeng suggested sending him there, besides the fact that it would be beneficial to the family, was actually more for the sake of Song Zinayu's personal path. After all, as long as he works harder on his cultivation after going to Xiaoao sect, his chances of building a foundation in the future will definitely be much greater than if he stays in the Song family. Chapter 200: The Wang family's purpose. After hearing Wang Shengaiyu's intention, Song Qingming was also a little surprised. There was no accidental news that the Song family chose Song Zinayu to go to Xiaoao sect, and it was unknown when the Wang family learned about this matter. Moreover, as the foundation-building ancestor of the Wang family, Wang Shengaiyu did not need to make a special trip for this matter. He could just write a letter. In any case, Wang Shengaiyu's finding a master for Song Zinayu in Xiaoao sect did solve the troublesome matter in Song Qingming's mind. He only knew a few foundation-building monks in Xiaoao sect, and he was really worried about how to find a master for him during this period. Although Song Zinayu could become an inner disciple directly after being recommended by the current Song family to join Xiaoao sect, it was very necessary to have a master in the foundation-building period if he wanted to avoid being bullied in the sect. Moreover, having a foundation-building monk casually guide his practice would be very beneficial to his path in the future, and it would definitely be much better than fighting alone. As long as there is a foundation-building master in the sect, plus Song Zinayu's 3 spiritual roots, the speed of cultivation will not be too slow. With the family's help and support, it will not be too difficult for Song Zinayu to get a foundation-building pill in the future. "My junior's little matter has troubled you so much, and it really troubles you." Wang Shengai waved his hand and smiled. "Song Daoyao's words are too unfamiliar. This matter is actually a piece of cake for me. During this period of time, there happened to be a clan brother in the sect who was recruiting disciples. Song Daoyao just needs to take this letter I wrote and go directly to him. I have already greeted him half a month ago. With a relationship between our 2 families, he will definitely take more care of your junior, so you can rest assured about this. Thank you very much, Wang Daoyao." Song Qingming nodded, took the letter handed over by Wang Shengaiyu, and put it in the storage bag. At this time, Song Changfeng had already called Song Zinayu in from outside the door and asked him to kowtow to Wang Shengaiyu, the nobleman, to express his gratitude. Wang Shengaiyu looked at Song Zinayu's pretty face, turned to Song Qingming and said softly, "The aptitude and bones of this junior in your family are indeed good. I think your Song family will have a great chance in the future, and you will have another foundation-building cultivator in Xiaoao sect." Song Qingming shook his head, smiled and said modestly, "Although there will be teachers to take care of him in Xiaoao sect, it still depends on his future opportunities. We, as elders, can only do our best." Although he said this, Song Qingming knew in his heart that the Wang family never did business at a loss. If Song Zhenyu could succeed in building a foundation in the future, it would definitely be good for their Wang family. After Song Zhenyu thanked Wang Shengyu, Song Changfang took him out again, leaving space for the two foundation-building cultivators in the meeting room to talk alone. Whether it was Song Changfang or Song Qingming, they knew in their hearts that Wang Shengyu would definitely not come to Funiu for no reason and interfere with Song Zhenyu's apprenticeship. Fellow Taoist Song, have you heard recently that the Taiyu secret realm will be opened in half a year? After the two chatted in the hall for a few words, Wang Shengyu suddenly asked Song Qingming in a mysterious way. Taiyu secret realm? Isn't it the same place where Huifang and the others threw me in at the floating cloud mountains? Upon hearing these two words, Song Qingming frowned involuntarily, and recalled his own dangerous experience a few years ago. To be honest with fellow Taoist Wang, I have been practicing in the mountains for the past few years and have rarely come down the mountain. The news has always been relatively blocked, and I don't know about the Taiyu secret realm. I'm really sorry to make you laugh. Hearing the word Taiyu from Wang Shengyu's mouth, Song Qingming first thought of the Taiyu Lake Market in the southeast of Wei State, but he really didn't know if there was any secret realm there. He could only wait for Wang Shengyu to continue talking with a puzzled look on his face. Seeing the look of expectation on Song Qingming's face, Wang Shengyu paused and continued, the Taiyu secret realm is actually in Tai Lake. It is a special secret realm next to Erwigo. It will automatically open every 60 years. It is normal that you haven't heard of it since you have just built your foundation. To be honest, the last time the secret realm was opened, I had just built my foundation. For my safety, the elders in the clan did not let me visit the secret realm. I don't know much about the situation inside. It's just that I learned from the elders in the clan who have built their foundation that there are countless rare treasures in the Taiyu secret realm. There are not only various high-level herbs and spiritual objects, but also longevity fruits that can increase the lifespan of us foundation-building monks. How can we not be tempted? It is not clear which force this secret realm belongs to. Every time the secret realm is automatically opened, not only are we go, but also the foundation-building monks of several nearby countries will come to participate. This time the secret realm will be opened in about half a year, and it won't be long before Taiyu Lake will be lively. There are so many rare treasures in the secret realm. Would those giant ancestors take action? How come it's our turn as foundation-building cultivators to search for them? After listening, Song Qingming asked again with some confusion. Wang Shengyu smiled and said, fellow Taoist Song, you don't know that this kind of secret realm was opened up by ancient great cultivators. There are powerful space restrictions in it. If cultivators above the Jinden level forcibly enter it, their cultivation will be suppressed to the foundation-building realm. It is for this reason that those higher-ranking Jinden ancestors naturally dare not take risks in person. If they are accidentally plotted against by foundation-building cultivators, it will be more trouble than gain. Hundreds of years ago, a late Jinden master with successful cultivation secretly entered this secret realm. As a result, he accidentally exposed his identity and was attacked by more than a dozen foundation-building cultivators and killed in the secret realm. Since then, almost no Jinden cultivator dared to take the risk in the past few hundred years. After all, sneaking in like this is too dangerous. How come the restrictions in this secret realm, like the secret realm he had entered in the floating cloud mountains, would suppress the cultivator's cultivation? Could it be that most of the secret realms in this world of immortal cultivation were like this? After hearing Wang Shengyu's explanation, Song Qingming really didn't understand. So that's how it is. I've really learned a lot today. Song Qingming stood up and bowed with a smile, then said, Brother Wang, you came to tell me about this today. Could it be that you have already planned to explore the secret realm? The opportunity that comes once every 60 years, of course, will not be missed by my Wang family. Not only us, but according to the information we know, the Gao family should also participate this time. This time I came here to ask Brother Song if he wants to go with us to look for opportunities. Wang Shengyu nodded, and finally turned the conversation back to Song Qingming. Song Qingming nodded calmly, pretended to hesitate for a moment and then said, Excuse me, fellow Taoist Wang, how is fellow Taoist Shengxin recovering? Will he participate in this secret realm? Hearing Song Qingming asking about Wang Shengxin's situation, Wang Shengyu was slightly stunned, and then smiled and said, Fellow Taoist Song must have heard a lot of messages from outside. It seems that Funiu is not so isolated from the news. Since I'm here today, I might as well tell you the truth. Brother Jiu was actually fine after his last retreat, and his injuries have long recovered. This time he also wanted to go in to find a longevity fruit. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.